Whatever the situation, whatever coming, we'll stand the faith, that's how we wanna run it. Break the limit to reality, one ain't real, creating a space where everyone's free to feel. We ain't afraid, we are the brave, we can play, this is a place where all the hurt. You know the squad, we ain't never gonna stop. Fire to inspire, we know this is who we are.
We are the dreamers, the daring believers, we march to a different drum. Everything's waiting, it's us for the taking, united we've already.
No.
Free Fire Pro Series makes its return to North America for Season 2. We'll be catching a lot of action and a lot of booyahs from some of our favorite teams in North America from Season 1, as well as some of the brand new homegrown talent that's already crushed their way through an open qualifier. To make sure you don't miss any of the action for the group stage, last chance qualifier, and the finals, be sure to tune into the broadcast to watch the action with us. All of this and more on your NA Pro Report. Welcome. My name is Melocrate, here to bring you your weekly coverage of the biggest players and the biggest plays in North American Free Fire. The Free Fire Pro Series Season 2 is already well underway. We've wrapped up our open qualifiers, 192 teams down to just 18. Those 18 teams will be joined by 6 teams that performed at the top of our Season 1 Grand Finals for a 24-team group stage. This season, we're not just playing for $50,000, so that is a nice chunk of cash to be fighting for. This season, we're actually also playing for an invite to the World Series. The grand champions of Season 2 will receive the first ever North American invite to the play-ins of the Free Fire World Series taking place in Sentosa, Singapore later this year. So with the stakes turned up all the way to 11, let's take a look at the teams that are returning from Season 1 to try and fight their way through the Free Fire Pro Series gauntlet once again. Before we do that, quick reminder of the format. We will have a 4-week group stage, 3 game days per week, and the teams will face off across the 4 weeks to try and rack up points based on their performance, not just in placement, but also in kills. The top teams will move directly to the grand finals. The middle of the pack teams will have to play through a last chance qualifier and earn a top 4 placement to make it back into the finals, and the bottom teams will be eliminated. So with that cleared out, let's check out the teams from Season 1 that are making their way back to the Free Fire Pro Series. Starting off with our Season 1 grand champions, La Bahia make their return under a brand new banner, and there's a couple of name changes, so try and keep up. La Bahia returns as Pisar Esports, so expect them to come back hungry for a back-to-back title. Wasaka makes their return as Virus Gaming, and they were the top LCQ team from Season 1, clearly showing that they had no business in the LCQ and should have been in the finals in the first place. And for our renames, we've got Northblood as well, who is returning as USA Esports, so showing their USA pride on their way back to the Free Fire Pro Series. Now for the other squads, not as many renames. We've got IT Official, very scary edge team. We've got Fuego, very consistent zone team. And we've got La ONU, who is a very opportunistic team, taking very smart third parties and making their way up the rankings with placements. Not exactly a lot of wins, but definitely some very fun fights. Now, for the other squads that made their way through the open qualifier, these teams actually ran all the way back through the round of 192 to the round of 36 again, like they did in Season 1. ZRJ, Dual Kings, and C7 under their new banner, Zundel Esports, have made their return through the entire open qualifier, so shout out to them because that is a huge feat. And lastly, we've got Osaka R15, Skullbreakers, and Club 9D making their return. They were invited based on their performance in the Season 1 Grand Finals as well, though they had to qualify in the last round of the open qualifier, the round of 36, but they did so successfully, and they are back to play. Now, the teams returning from Season 1 are not the only teams to be worrying or watching about, because of course we've got brand new talent in the mix, brand new teams in the mix, though some of the talent is returning. One of the biggest names that we're going to be seeing most likely is Atomic Esports. Atomic had a huge run through the open qualifier, and with Abreu from La Bahia in the mix, definitely an interesting dynamic for that squad, as they will likely be facing off against their former team very soon in the group stage, and multiple times as well, at least twice. In fact, we do have a double round robin format for this season, which means a lot more games and a lot more chance for competition. Another big squad that we want to shout out, I got my notes right over here, because Team 999, their stats were absolutely ridiculous in the open qualifier, so definitely go ahead and look through the website to see just how dominant they were throughout multiple rounds of the tournament. Keep an eye out for that team, definitely a very scary team. Now, this week's coverage will be a little bit shorter since we do not have results to cover, but expect the Free Fire Pro Report, the NA Pro Report specifically, to cover all of the results from the previous weeks. Though all of our coverage you can catch live. All of the competitive games from the group stage to the LCQ to the grand finals will be streamed live on Twitch and on YouTube. So make sure you don't miss any of the action. You can catch it yourself, and make sure you join us for those broadcasts and cheer on your favorite teams. And if your favorite team isn't playing on the day, come into the chat, talk some trash. We love to see that. And definitely show support for all of our NA friends, because at the end of the road, we will have one team that will be sent off to Singapore to represent North America in its entirety. So definitely a very, very exciting tournament. Once again, a reminder, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the next 4 weeks, we will have game days, and we will have very competitive game days with a fantastic crew of casters, observers, analysts. The entire thing will be there, and we hope to see the entirety of North America there with us. So be sure to tune in. I'll definitely see you all there in the chat. Make sure you participate. Make sure you let your friends know that we should all be tuning in for Season 2, because it's bigger and better than it ever has been. Free Fire Esports is here in North America, so let's show it the best we can. But that's going to be it for me for the first NA Pro Report. Be sure to tune in next week for another bit of coverage from the results of this weekend. So yeah, we'll see you then. Catch you later.
Survivors, welcome to Season 2 of the Free Fire Pro Series. We're back to bring you more action, more talent, and even more booyahs for the best teams in North America. On top of a whopping $50,000 prize pool and the bragging rights of being crowned the FFPS Grand Champion, this season the winners will also earn the first ever North American invite to the Free Fire World Series. But before they get there, teams will have to fight their way through a grueling 2-month tournament, including an open qualifier, group stage, last chance qualifier, and grand finals. The action started earlier this month with the open qualifier, where 192 teams from all across North America joined the FFPS for the first stage of the tournament. Each qualifier round featured 6 games, where teams earned points based on their in-game performance, including their placement and their kills in the 12-team lobbies. Only teams in the top half of their lobby moved through each of the qualifying rounds, making their way through the round of 192, the round of 96, and the round of 48. The bottom 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals joined the top 30 from the round of 48 and the last open qualifier round, the round of 36. The 18 teams left standing from the final round earned their spots in the group stage. For the group stage, the top teams from the open qualifier will be joined by even more invited teams from Season 1. The top 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals will qualify straight into a 2014 group stage, alongside the open qualifier teams from Season 2. Teams will be split up into groups of 6, and these groups will face off in a double round-robin format where each group will battle each other in a 12-team lobby twice. This stage will take place across 4 weeks, with 3 game days per week. In the end, the top 8 teams will punch their tickets straight to the finals. The 9th through 20th place teams will earn one last shot in the last chance qualifier, and the bottom 4 teams will be eliminated from the tournament. The last chance qualifier will be a 2-day gauntlet where teams that fail to qualify from the group stage will get their last chance to earn a place in the finals and fight for the title of FFPS Grand Champion. 12 games will give the top 4 teams a shot in the finals, while the remaining teams will be eliminated. The Grand Finals will pit the top 12 teams in North America against each other in a 3-day event. 6 games per day for a total of 18 games will be played for teams to claim their piece of the $50,000 prize pool and for a grand champion to be crowned. Which squad will reign supreme and get their chance to represent North America in the World Series? Tune in to find out.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Free Fire Pro Series. It's day 3 of the group stage and we're continuing our search for the North American representative on the World Series in Sentosa. It's an exciting time, and today we're going to see the first teams of Group D participating in the group stage. But before we get into the action, join me in welcoming Godspeed to the broadcast. It's me, Twiggy, and Godspeed. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really excited to get into these games, and actually, this is my first time working with you as well, so it should be a good time.
Absolutely. Well, we've got one new group joining us today, so that's the exciting time for us. Everybody else, they've already played one. Group A have actually played two already in our first 2 days, but today we're going to be seeing the return of a few interesting teams, maybe under some new names, but also some new teams joining us.
Absolutely. And already I've recognized some teams out of Group A with Club 9D, who did well last season, as well as teams like IT Official. But looking at Group C and D, Fuego is another returning team. La Ono was a very good team last season, as well as ZRJ, R15 Official. I mean, Osaka, USA Esports was actually rebranded from a team that we had in the last season, which was Northblood. So a lot of returning teams, a lot of familiar names, as well as a lot of new names as well, Twiggy.
Yeah, absolutely. Most notably, as you pointed out, obviously Fuego we're going to be seeing more of today. They participated in the first day, picking up 90 points for themselves. They're actually fourth in the overall standings. That's ridiculous. Ahead of half of the Group A. Yeah, half of the Group A standings are behind them right now. We can take a look at the overall standings for the first 2 days of the group stage. As you can see, Fuego in Group C up there, only behind the top 3 teams of Group A, but obviously everybody from Group D right down there at the bottom with 0. We're going to see how many points they can get on their first day, see how far they can get up that leaderboard, because we're expecting some good teams to be in this one. Obviously, as you said, USA Esports, they used to be called Northblood. They came 5th place in the Season 1 finals, so we're expecting some big things out of them. Obviously, Osaka also a finalist in that stage. So, yeah, definitely some teams that are joining us, and some teams that will be joining us from the open qualifiers as well, that we're expecting to get some points on this first day.
Absolutely. And I mean, speaking even of Fuego, right, they're currently in 4th after only 1 day. We talked about how ridiculous that is, but, you know, that's only really on like Bermuda, right? They have really, really bad games on Kalahari as well. And so I'm curious to see if that's going to continue today. Maybe some of the teams that we have in this lobby could potentially just slow them down, because Fuego's on a freight train, and it's going to be hard to stop that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very surprising the amount of teams we've seen have, you know, very, very map-based kind of performances. Obviously, we saw Club 9D yesterday. They were very good on Kalahari, but apart from that, obviously, they kind of missed out a bit on points in Bermuda. They kind of missed out on points all over the place in terms of Purgatory as well. So we're expecting to see some more of that, obviously, but I think Northblood, oh, sorry, not Northblood, it used to be Northblood, USA Esports, getting confused there. Now, they have a completely new roster, but they've kind of picked up a lot of the kind of talent that we saw in Season 1, obviously, notably Joshua from Fuego in Season 1, who were a massive team, obviously then, still a massive team now, as we can see, but you know, we're expecting to see some really, really good things out of, especially, I would say, USA Esports, but Osaka as well, as I said earlier. We're an exciting team as well.
Yeah, the interesting thing as well about Osaka and even USA Esports, formerly Northblood, is that both of them have essentially taken members from the former Season 1 Fuego. So, I mean, there's been a lot of swaps as far as rosters. And in Season 1, Osaka, I remember specifically watching them. They were a very aggressive team, and they looked great as far as the open qualifiers, but when it came down to, you know, the actual finals themselves, kind of middle of the pack. So I'm hoping that maybe with this new revamped roster, taking players like Domi, which was on Club 9D last season, which was nuts, by the way. I'm really hoping Osaka can actually kind of remedy the issues they had.
Yeah, and obviously with such a long group stage, we're going to have 12 days worth of this tournament here for the group stage alone, and then obviously last chance qualifiers for the 12 teams that miss out on those first 8 spots, and then the finals after that. You know, there's a lot of time for these teams to really rack up a lot of points. I'm assuming at some point. I really hope to see some quad figures up there, especially for a team like, well, I mean, we saw yesterday Pizarro Esports, who put together the top daily performance with 95 points. You know, this is the kind of thing, if you keep that kind of thing up, you're going to see some really, really high points racking up, and we're already seeing a massive disparity between those top teams and the bottom teams.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw that again last season when we talk about teams like Osaka, like Northblood, or especially like La Uno or Club 9D. I mean, that's kind of what we saw from them, right? They would pretty much come in, they would drop, they would completely dominate a lobby. I mean, getting a pretty gross amount of kills in the process as well. And so I think it's slowed down a little bit so far. I mean, as far as these group stages have gone, but you still have teams, like Pizarro Esports, which are just pretty much dominating everyone else, like Fuego, who are able to get a ridiculous amount of points as well in only 1 day of play. So it's looking pretty exciting so far.
Yeah, and here, obviously, in overall kills, we can really see the top 2 teams so far. Now, Club 9D and Pizarro Esports are both, the top 2 teams, but they have had 2 days worth of play, so we're expecting them to be near the top. But these 2 teams, they've really run away with the competition so far already, even in their own group. The closest to them is IT Official with 112 points. So that's a big disparity even there. What is that, 44 points between those 2 teams? So, this is the kind of thing we're expecting to hopefully, everybody needs to get those points early on so that they can have a good basis to work off. You can see Big Trip there, only in 13th with 2 days worth behind several Group B and Group C teams. That's the kind of start that you really don't want to have, but at least, when you start off like that, you do have a few days every now and then where you can take a break. Group A, they're going to have 3 days break, including today, to really rethink their strategies and kind of look over VODs.
Absolutely. And then even just talking about some of the other teams in this lobby, right? I mean, we have Zundel Esports, who in Season 1 were C7. They got 12th in the LCQ. They renamed. I mean, they're potentially an upset team. They didn't have the strongest showing in Season 1, but, hopefully they can make something happen. I think their biggest issue in Season 1 was just kind of getting farmed off bad rotations. You have Team 999, which is probably the most dominant team in Season 2 of the Open Qualifiers. They won 3 of their 4 Open Qualifier lobbies, including 127 point in the round of 48. So they're another really strong team. We obviously talked about Fuego ad nauseum at this point because they're coming in with pretty ridiculous. You know what I'm actually curious about Twiggy is the fact is, do you think Fuego can get maybe another 90 points? Do you think they can break 180 and just pass up Pissar?
That is definitely possible. I mean, to be fair, they were coming up against a pretty fearsome, few teams in that first day.
Sure.
Obviously, it was A versus C, Group A versus Group C in that first day. So they were coming up against Pizarro Esports, Club 9D, and they outfragged both of those, or outscored both of those by several points. I think Pizarro Esports was a good 12 points behind them in terms of that. So if they can do that well against, the 2 teams that we're seeing already put massive amounts of points difference between their own group, I'm expecting to see, a kind of continuation of that today. Obviously, the average placements, as you can see, only 5.7, so not really even getting into the kind of middleists of each game, apart from those booyahs. But when they do, they get kills. They get a lot of kills. Yeah,
this is a very, very frag-heavy team, and I'm really excited to see if they can, again, keep that pace. The one thing that's actually new for me as well, Twiggy, that we didn't have at least last season when I was casting was the revival of teammates, which is now possible, which really actually kind of changes things quite a bit, right? And there's 2 different ways that players can be revived, whether it's the blue zone around the map on the icons, or if it's the revival cards, which I understand are pretty expensive. But just the fact that you're able to revive teammates, I think, is going to vastly change it, at least for me coming into this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just before that, even in Season 1, we had a kind of big meta change with the time turners, obviously, now working a lot different, not being able to shoot from inside them, only being just one big shield that have kind of a lot of health and a time attached to them. We're about to get into the game, as you can see with the background. We're actually starting, as I believe, with 2 missing teams. That's Team 999 and Brothers YT, but we'll get things started and we'll see if they join us later on at the very least. That's going to be some points missed out for them, but it is how it is sometimes, so we will be getting into game just about now.
Yep, it is what it is, and although it's not ideal for those teams, this actually makes kind of the play a little more interesting and dynamic for the teams that are in the lobby, just because there's more space now to work with, Twiggy. And so these guys could potentially get a rotation off that they couldn't get before, or maybe a little less contested, on top of the fact that maybe they can flex out and loot a position that they couldn't do before as well. So we'll see how these teams take advantage of that.
Speaking of which, it doesn't look like anybody is going for those kind of spread out locations. Bermuda, not one of the bigger maps, but at the very least, there's a lot of hard cover to work with, so a lot of people do favor going towards the edges of the map and working their way in slowly, but everybody seems to be going all together. We got a hot drop here, right on top of Graveyard with R15 and La Onu. Well, Garen are already taking down Mario there from the roof of the house. That's a big knock to start things off. R15, they're going to have to try and take some positional control. You've got Navy actually coming in from the outside of this one, too.
I really love the different elevations as well. A lot of these teams have taken so early. Getting on the roofs can be devastating and backbreaking, especially if you're not expecting it. But yeah, that's going to be first blood there for R15. And oh no, not the best start that they of hope for here. As Smith is well now stuck, and it's going to be a rescue mission at this point while R15 is showing good aggression here. I like this.
Yeah, R15 was one of the mid-table teams almost in Group C on their first day of play, heading with 50 points overall, which is ahead of 2 of the teams in their group, but obviously with Fuego stealing all the points away from the rest of the teams, it was pretty difficult to get any of that, but they're looking to get some points today, taking out Laonu very quickly. That's 2 kills for them already.
2 kills. Again, R15, I mean, this is quite a different roster as well from the one that I saw last season, but overall, I mean, doing well and moving over now to USA. They're going to be in a fight with Navy here, and it looks like Navy has actually got the upper hand, but wait a second, as I say that, Ramon gets knocked.
Navy Esports having a little bit of a run over of their form from the first day. They're just getting rolled over, but Chris, oh my god, that's more!
Nuts.
That's 3 knocks for Chris! What's going on here?
That was absolutely nuts. He used the angle around the door, and then he threw a grenade, which devastated USA, which seemed to be on the recovery there. He's going to back off now. Only one member up. It's actually just going to be him. Potentially might go for the res here, meanwhile USA is pretty much crippled off of that.
Yeah, it's a 1v1 at this point. We really thought that, you know, your Team USA were coming into that one with a big heads up, trying to get one up on Navy, who they have already played for one day, Group C versus Group D in that scenario, but, well, firing back very quickly. Now 1 player left alive on each team. At least they've all got a nice amount of kill points.
True. I mean, that is a caveat for sure, but I do imagine that they want more than just 1 member up a team. But still, one solo. We've seen a lot of crazy things from solo players. We've seen some pretty impressive plays. We now see Bestia trying to take down the members of Onu and Prince, and they're still chasing this. I actually really like this aggression from R15. They know this team is slightly weaker, and what a shot, Bestia.
Yeah, R15 stopping Laonu from starting to get those reses out. They actually did pull 1 off, just about that. They will still have 2 players alive, but one's going to be dropping in from the sky. Mario's going to run well away and try and stay alive. Support the teammate dropping in. But R15 doing so well to start things off. Definitely a different change of pace from what was going on their first day of competition. It's what we like to see, a little bit of development.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the kind of adaptations, as you're talking about, that really going to elevate a team, especially in these lobbies where you have, you know, just a bunch of mixed teams that you're not sure, maybe they haven't played against some of these rosters yet, and seeing the fact that they can adjust that quickly off of, you know, a less than stellar first day is exactly what you want to see from a team like R15.
They're going to start rotating around. Obviously, early game, you don't exactly know where you need to be.
Oh,
You
Chris.
can start making some informed decisions. Oh no, Chris is right stuck here. Not getting spotted out at the very least by Zundel Esports.
Yeah.
They make their rotation around the south and sticking behind the car, playing it safe. You know, no heals, well, actually 1 heal available, but still, low health, doesn't really want to be seen out here.
Yeah, this is no way you the way you cut it or the way you slice it. It's gonna be rough from Twiggy, but at the very least, he might be able to come in behind this team and then potentially even just get a nice amount of kills. That'd be wonderful if he can maybe pick off a couple members of Zundel who maybe get knocked and just do as much damage and be as annoying as a snake as he can be. I mean, at this point, that's really all he can do. Hopefully find some more meds, but Zundel as well. I mean, they're sticking together as a squad. Look pretty healthy as far as the loot is concerned as well. And also have to give a shout out to all the skins in this game. I mean, they look so cool.
Yeah, look at that panda backpack. I love that. Anyway, I was seeing Hags, who really surprised us on the first day. Definitely, you know, after coming through that open qualifier, really did quite well. Mid runner for Group C right now, picking up 57 points. So one of the higher up teams that isn't Fuego at the very least.
Yeah.
I feel like it's 2 kind of. We've got Group C and then we've got Fuego kind of ahead of the rest of them. But yeah.
They've definitely been the raid boss of of their lobby for sure. But yeah, even talking about Hags, I mean, as you said, a very pleasant surprise coming out of the open qualifiers, and they tend to rotate very early, right? So they don't seem to get in a lot of trouble. They get a pretty decent position, and off of that, they're able to do quite a bit of work. And this roster also includes someone from last season that I recognized, which was Monkey from Team Money. So definitely a solid team to look out for, especially with how well they did in the open qualifiers.
We're now seeing an overview of the rotations coming through. A lot of water on this one. A lot of not a lot of land to work with over towards the east here. We're heading towards Cape Town, where we do have Rambox Gaming in control of that compound. It's Fuego that are going to be moving in towards that, trying to take that control back from them. But a lot of teams in the center of the zone, surprisingly, so far. Not that they could be much further to the east.
Yeah, and this is the one thing I'm worried about when we look at that circle, right? You see ZRJ in a very good position. This is something that they actually did quite a bit in Season 1 as well. The problem that I have with their position is not that it's a bad position. It's actually a great position. I just said it's ZRJ they've set these traps, and they try to do a lot of really cool things with some neat plays in Season 1, but every time they tried to either spring a trap or make something work, everything seemed to fall apart. So I'm really hoping now in Season 2 they've kind of addressed those issues, and if they are going to play a more central style, which they tend to in the past, they actually capitalize off it this time. And oh my goodness, oh, that's just not the way you want to get knocked.
We've seen a lot of teams go for these aggressive plays with cars, but I'm not sure Fuego were quite aware of R15's positioning there and ran straight into them, got a little surprised. That's one team member already down, and we're seeing more downs coming through. R15 looking to end the reign of Fuego early on today.
Oh,
good
man.
shots coming through, and that's 2 more knocks. They don't know where the last player is right now, but I think Garen had just found them out. There it is. Fuego eliminated. Number 10, that is the bottom. There were no 12 teams in this lobby, only 10. So, eliminated first with 0 kills in their first game. They're going to be ending the first game with 0. That's very uncharacteristic from them.
Very uncharacteristic, but if you're any of the other teams in the lobbies, you're actually really happy right now, and you're rooting for R15. That's going to be a huge blow to, not necessarily a huge blow, but a pretty decent chunk, and it's going to stop them from getting more points and Spongy get more of those. So R15 looking great, and we move back to Ono as well as Navy, and this fight is about to crack off. The question is, which team is more poised to actually win this? I really like Ono's position here, actually. Just have to be careful not to get surrounded.
Yeah, lots of hard cover to work with right now on the edge of zone. It's a nice position to hold, but they are going to be starting to make a little rotation out towards the edge. You can see USA Esports rotating back around. They're back up after their engagement early on with Navy. All 4 members back alive. Speaking of Navy, our lonesome player might be edge-guarded here by Laonu. Spots out Chris. Right on the edge, just waiting.
Oh, man, this is...
Oh, took a little too late, I feel like.
Yeah, they are in a good position, but they have to be careful, because Navy could... Actually, no, there's no reason. Navy's... Yeah, Chris is just going to run. He's just going to try to back off. He does not want to deal with Ono right now. 0 kills for this team so far, but as far as loot and positioning has gone, they've pretty much poised to stalk any team in this late game. So really just looking for Uno to pop off in a fight, because this team is definitely one to watch when they do fight.
Yeah, I think good respect from them. I'm not sure they knew that Navy was down 2-1 player, so just kind of waiting out the fight, not taking it too early on, not giving away their position too quickly. But Chris is going to have to run for the hills quite literally, only on low health. But oh, another team coming to their aid. They drop down now, and the rest of Navy are back up. 1 knockdown for Laonu and Team USA. They're getting involved. That's 1 kill for them onto Prince from long range.
Yeah, trying to put down
saving Navy.
These glue walls to save themselves, but you're absolutely right. 1 down, Prince is going to get flushed, and I really like this aggression again from USA.
They've got a lovely position up there on the hill, not on the edge of the zone, not being able to guard anybody, but at the very least, that high ground is going to be incredibly useful in those long-range battles. You can see on the kill feed, R15 still getting involved with things, really, really making an impression on this first map of the day. But as we're in the 3rd zone, still waiting for the teams to be pushed closer together. We can see the new zone is towards the kind of... So there's not a lot of hard cover to work with in this new zone at all.
Yeah, I expect a lot of those glue walls to be coming out as these teams try to navigate, as you said, a very open zone. There is a little bit of hard cover here or there, but mostly these teams are going to be fighting out in the open using their utility. As I say that, glue wall comes out. This fight between Lundell and USA is about to pop off, and oh my goodness! Grenade launcher!
Those grenade launchers do a lot of damage, but USA will get involved. It's unfortunate for them. Zundel absolutely wiping them after an aggressive first map from USA, and actually being able to win out a lot of gunfights, or at the very least sustain themselves throughout a gunfight. I mean, a full wipe at close range. Sometimes a team just well equipped for that long range of battle, but as soon as you get in a building with them, I mean, Zundel making very good use of those area of effect weapons.
Absolutely, and again, with the changes to the time turn to the fact that you can't shoot out of it, I mean, those are pretty much just defensive tools rather than offense, but here we go. Look at this. Speaking of offense, Jeremy from Osaka, and he's going to get around the crates. Can he make something work? Oh, he does!
Oh! Ready for the engagement within the time turn. I thought for a second he was going to turn around a little too early. But Osaka, they're really getting involved with the fight. They're getting all of these kills down, not taking a single casualty. It doesn't look like. There we go. One will finally get knocked and one flushed as well. But that's from long range. It looks like Navy. Chris from the hills. Third partying, actually getting himself a couple of finishes there. A couple of points for his team.
That's exactly what we were talking about earlier, as far as a solo could be. What is the range on that? Oh my goodness. That was disgusting.
Finally, Osaka managed to get themselves a little bit of a breather, but once again, Chris is taking every advantage at making sure that neither Osaka nor Hags here really get the kills that they want. You can see Hags, after having almost taken down the whole of the Osaka squad, only on one kill for them.
That's got to be so frustrating, right, for Hags. I mean, doing all this work in this fight, going down to a 2v2, and guess what? You're not even getting the kills for the knocks that you've worked so hard to get. And always got to be careful, Rivera.
Oh, those shotguns close range, right? That's going to do real well for them. They'll keep two members alive and actually bag themselves some points for the kills as well with those last two. It's going to be a nice, at least, consolation prize for that fight. But that's a lot of casualties faced for not a lot of points.
I mean, if you're Chris, you're super happy about those casualties because all of those points went straight into your pocket as we're looking at Yonak here from Zundel. And this is actually a really nice rotate. I like this. They're coming in on the east side of the circle. They're setting up to basically third party this fight that's happening right now. And it's still going to be members of Navy just being an absolute nuisance around this map. As Chris is no longer with us, but even still.
As memory does live on with one revived player, it's been such a strong utility in this new meta, almost. Oh, what a shot. Milo goes down, and Laonu is eliminated there by ZRJ. Trying to keep a little bit of form. The lowest performing team from Group C. Doing well. Navy Esport finally get finished off there by Hags. Getting a little revenge for the kills stolen up there on the bridge. Now, the zone moves in very close, and it's looking like Hags have the best position here up on top of the bridge. Not a lot of cover to work with, but all that there is on top of that bridge there.
This is a very interesting ending as well because of that bridge. Again, you're talking about the different elevations. The fact that there's only really one team on top means that if they play this right, even as a duo, especially with that sniper rifle, they can do quite a lot of damage as long as they're not the ones being engaged with third party. But they have to be careful not to eat too many shots as Rivera almost goes down.
Yeah. Playing it not very safe out in the open, even on that bridge, you know. There is some hard cover to work with in terms of some crates, but the new zone moving in, we can see well off that bridge. It's going to be out in the open completely, nothing to work with. Only ZRJ actually do have a little bit of cover to, the only bit of cover to work with within this, but a nice placed grenade out of the grenade launcher of Rambox Gaming. That's going to do one knock. Everybody moves in now. Everybody trying to vie for control of this new zone. ZRJ completely eliminated by Rambox Gaming. Some good long-range grenades there, and they take over that last bit of cover. 3 members alive in that position. 1 taken down over towards the bridge. Zundel get involved. They're doing incredibly well this game, actually, considering how late they got involved in the game.
Absolutely.
Hags had to move so quickly off that bridge, and it was never going to happen. Can't just drop off it.
Oh, these glue
They're
walls.
eliminated as well. Oh,
there's so many glue walls around, and look at Zundel! Oh my goodness! I'm gonna find a quad kill there. And
one player. Oh. R15 hanging on by the skin of their teeth, but it's a headshot for Jonak, and it'll finish out the game. Zundel from Group D take our first booyah of the day. They will take the lion's share of the points.
That was a really disgusting display coming out from Zundel. As we said, they kind of came in that circle a little late. They didn't really have the craziest amount of kills, but once they got towards that end game and the circle shifted off the bridge, I mean, that was all Zundel. They worked that entire circle, and that was incredibly impressive to watch.
Yeah, and you can really see out of just that game by itself how influential those last zones are, because we saw Hags had that great position up on top of the bridge. They could have lasted there forever, but as soon as that zone found itself outside of that bridge, there's no way to drop down from there. You have to walk all the way over with no cover whatsoever. Hags just completely got that placement taken away from them. I think they finished 5th in the end because so many teams were just trying to vie for a little bit of control within that zone and trying to edge their way in just a little more. But Zundel, they just kind of swept their way through the lobby.
Absolutely. I mean, they took their time and their positioning was good. And again, their rotations were really solid. They didn't run into a lot of teams, and the teams that they did run into, they were able to, quite swiftly dispatch. And I also want to talk about R15 there, who was the team that dominated Fuego there, I believe, in that rotation. R15, even though they went out a little earlier, I mean, they looked very impressive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We can take a look at the team's points for that first game very shortly, but R15 obviously coming second are going to take quite a few there. You can see 6 kills. They get 15, but it's Zundel who take away not only 12 points for placement, but 12 points for kills, making themselves 24 in the first game of the day. That is a lot to take away. We could see them being, well, potentially the points leader for one day.
I mean, if they continue on this trajectory, absolutely. And even Navy Esports, I mean, we talked about Chris for so long, just being such a nuisance, getting all those kills, even though their placement wasn't the best. And they're going to walk away with 11 points based off that alone.
Yeah, tight packing of points here. Obviously, even though Fuego were eliminated first, they do get that 1 point for placing 10th, because Brothers YT, Team 999, they're not going to be on those points. But see the replays here. Obviously, so many early fights that didn't end in a team wipe. This is so insane to me now that with the changes in terms of, well, announced for the World Series, obviously, that's why we're making these changes here in North America as well, to get the teams prepared, is that you can revive your teammates in those games. It makes it so different. The dynamics, especially when, we went down to a 1v1 in that fight between USA Esports and, who was it? I can't remember who was involved.
It was Navy, I believe, right? USA Navy,
of course,
I believe.
Navy, yeah, of course. Navy went down to 1 player. They managed to get themselves back up to 3 later on, but USA managed to get themselves back up to all 4 as well. Absolutely,
which is crazy,
insane.
Yeah, which is totally crazy, and you're absolutely right. That changes the dynamic of these team fights as well, as we watch Zundel kind of clean up that circle. But yeah, if you're in a situation where it's a 1v1 or a 1v2, there's more incentive for both of those teams involved in that fight to actually pull back and get the reses off rather than going for the fight and the finish. Because that's what we used to see, in last season as well, specifically without the res mechanic, is the fact that there was kind of no reason to back off a fight. You might as well get the kills, especially if you're a solo, right? But now there's much more incentive to back off, maybe get a member or two up. As you said, USA actually managed, I think, to recover all their members, which is really crazy. And so that could be game winning. And I really actually love that res mechanic.
Yeah, I was definitely, the first time we saw it in the first few games, I don't think it was really used to its full potential, so I was kind of, a bit skeptical about it. But as we're seeing it getting used for this strategic play, USA Esports bagged themselves another 2 kills after getting their team back up, even though they did have a relatively disappointing late game in that one, but it managed to get them back on their feet in such a way that, you're seeing these kind of underdog tales just in the space of 10 minutes. You can see a team go from absolutely nothing here. Chris, who was the last member alive, sure, for the whole game, but with the support of his team members being able to confidently take more position as you have 1 or 2 more members back alive, not just having to play right on the edge of the zone and just put up a glue wall and wait for everybody else to move in and then just kind of push in for placement points. Bagging himself 5 kills, the kill leader of the game, even though he was down to 2 members for most of that game there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing as well, is if you know where those res stations are going to be on the map, or if you generally know a team is going to want to res, you can actually bait that out as well. And there's a lot of different plays that can be made around that, especially, again, as a solo that we're talking about, Chris and his teammate doing an incredible amount of work and still being the kill leader. It's great to see. And I also want to give a shout out as well to Osaka's and Maduro, who had 4 kills as well. Even though we didn't see too much from Osaka, I still really like that team. The aggression is what I really look for as well. And then obviously, yeah, Zundel, I mean, just completely cleaned up that circle at the end and dominated, as we see Jeff and Letra with 4 apiece.
Yeah, well, we're seeing Group D get involved now. Got one team from Group D, obviously Zundel Esports, the winners of that match, are right edging on the overall standings in terms of just being right on the edge of 1A Esports, who were the lowest performance yesterday for Group B, as we can see here. 24 points for them is going to put them right up next to them. 18th place now, and everybody else getting already quite close. You know, having these close points games is actually bringing, you know, Group D as maybe a whole all the way up. Maybe, you know, maybe they had a little meeting before the game and went, you know what, guys, let's try and get each other some points, try and just outperform other teams, because in the end, it is only 4 teams that are going to be eliminated from this first stage of the group stage.
True, and you definitely want to get as close as you can as well to that top 8. You want to give yourself the best chance to, at the very least, go to the LCQ if you can't make it. And so, yeah, for Group D, definitely not the best, or not the worst start. Potentially asking for some help with Group C, sharing those points, but it's been a pretty exciting group so far. And I'm even looking at a team like R15. I mean, they're definitely playing well below their anticipation, right? That team is very strong. However, starting off that game, that's exactly what we wanted to see from them. Wiping a team like Fuego, who's been very strong, and getting to them early in the lobby is definitely going to help, and that's the start they're going to want.
Yeah, but getting into our next game here, our last of Bermuda for the day, I'm interested to see how Fuego can build upon that first game. Obviously, getting eliminated first to kind of one of the mid-table teams for your group in that first day. It's got to be a little blow to confidence. We'll see how they can re-perform on this one. We weren't exactly expecting them to do, you know, the best performance in the world on Bermuda specifically, but, well, we'll see how they try and bring this one back now.
Actually, that kind of worries me, Twiggy, if I'm going to be honest, moving forward, because Bermuda seems to almost be their best map, even though they've kind of been middling, as you've said. But at the very least, on day 1, their average placement was I think 2nd on Bermuda, which is really impressive. Unfortunately, as you said, they didn't have the best game last game on Bermuda, and this is the last time they're going to play it, at the very least today. And they had some terrible games on Kalahari, so maybe not the best day coming out from Fuego. Obviously, we'll have to see. Not the best start. I'm curious to see what their adjustments might be as we look now at a potential hot drop between 3 different teams.
Yeah, you can see Team 999 here, who do join us after that last game. They were not present. See how they can get involved now, but very quickly, Laonu trying to take some shots onto Diablo from R15. Everybody really dropping hot on those, you know, those hot zones.
Oh, yeah.
Blue zones, you can see, obviously, better loot over there. Graveyard seems to have been the spot for that. 2 games in a row now. Hags take first blood onto ZRJ there. Everybody trying to drop right on top of everybody. You can see R15 right on top of Team 999 over there to the east.
I'm very curious, Twiggy, if Hags is going to decide to rotate early, as they often do after they got that pick, or maybe if they try to clean up this fight. We see, wow, Milo just hitting some pretty disgusting shots at range, actually. What is that angle? How can he even... I can barely even see the person he's shooting at. That's ridiculous. And, oh, R15, Doba actually going to go down early.
Yeah, well, Team 999 in for a little bit of a rude awakening. Already 1 player down on their team. Obviously dropping right on top of more squads. It's going to be difficult, but Mr. T is going to take kill leader to get them back in the game. And obviously they can revive that team member that did go down no matter what. So they are going to head towards the middle of zone. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't seem like, as you can see, these blue triangles, not blue triangles, the blue diamonds with those little hearts in them, that is going to show you where teams can revive their teammates. Not anything too close to them, and the zone is heading very far north, where only 3 are within zone there.
Looking at this map as well, it's pretty much everyone kind of playing on the edge, as we see one member of R15 going for the center, and I like that potential insurance play. Maybe just try to get a couple members in the middle. Obviously, the first team fight didn't go their way, and so they're just going to kind of hang out there. Now, Navy and Laono, though, sitting on the west side of that circle, may potentially run into each other on rotations, or might even run into 999.
Yeah. R15 going all the way in, you can see that. Trying to take dam position. Oh. Over towards Riverside. Everybody else playing it slowly. Fuego sitting over towards Sentosa as we see they've done several times. Actually, we've seen kind of the leaders of points do this several times. Obviously, Fuego, they seem to do it quite often. Club 9D are known for playing over towards Sentosa and Bermuda as well. And it seems to favor these teams that do this over on Bermuda. Obviously, both teams picking up a lot of points on this map so far. But, well, Fuego not quite keeping up that run of form today. We'll see how they bring that one back. Team 999, they do revive their missing player, manage to rotate round towards a revive spot, so they will be back to 4 again. Everybody's soon going to have to start their rotations through to keep their eyes on zone now.
Yeah, I'm also kind of worried about some of these teams coming in the Southwest, because it does look like the West in general, Twiggy, is going to be the most populated, or potentially one of the most obnoxious to try to rotate through. I also want to see what Navy can do with 4 members as opposed to 1. You know what I mean? They definitely were able to do quite a bit of damage as just a solo or duo, but I want to see what this roster can do as a full 4, and they are going to have to go through Ono first, though, and that poses to be a challenge for any team as this is going to back off. Oh, look at this position off the roof from Chris. Chris seems to be one of the most impressive players on this team, at least for me, Twiggy.
Yeah, after taking that jump pad, that's a very nice position to have, and, well, Prince is already down. Alcalde, close range, will be able to get that shot down with the shotguns. We always talk about how the shotguns in this game are very, very powerful, but they seem to be incredibly good. Once again, Smith going down. That's another one for Navy, and it looks like the whole squad together are a force to be reckoned with. Laonu, they're going to be going down to 1 player immediately. Gonna have to try and run away now, Miller.
Oh, they're going to chase. There's no way they're going to let him get away. That's going to be one of the easiest wipes for them, as long as they don't any glaring mistakes, and it's not going to happen. I mean, I was just asking, Twig. I said I want to see what they can do as a squad, and clearly what they can do as a squad is just be absolutely devastating.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if they can get the amount of points that 1 player alone did as a whole squad, they're going to be quite high up on that leaderboard after this game. They're going to be giving Sundell Esports a run for their money on this one. I mean, like, this is a team that, you know, we didn't know how they were going to perform today on this one after, you know, not the best start to their first 42 points against Group A, but seem to be really showing up today.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that they were even able to salvage the game the way that they did in the last game, and then come in just quite headstrong as well. The mentality didn't seem to be shifted. Like, okay, look, we had a bad game. Luckily, Chris was able to save us, and now let's continue to go out and dominate. And it's exactly what they did. Meanwhile, Fuego now seems to be coming in with a little bit of a slower approach, especially with how it started out for them last game. They may potentially run into one of the teams just to their west here. They got to be careful for that.
Yeah, I think that is Brothers YT once again joining us after last game. Not an issue with the roster, I think, but now back in as a squad. Yeah, they will be coming in up behind Fuego. We can see whether it's going to be one of those situations where Brothers will be able to get kind of the jump on Fuego, or whether Fuego can lock them out of zone here. It's going to be whoever sees the other team first, I feel like, and Fuego are not quite looking out for them. They're staying very, you know, close to that edge, making sure that if they do see a team, they're able to defend that position, but right now they are not looking. Oh, there we go. They do spot him. Shadow at the bottom of the hill. Trying to fire shots back. Obviously going to have to use blue walls. It is just a sheer hill, but finding one onto Into.
It was a ridiculous amount of damage. Really well-placed shots as well, and that was huge because those YT are the ones that need to come into the zone. Fuego can just sit back and hold and be quite a nuisance, but it's really actually just being Shadow that's being the nuisance here. He's putting so much damage on Fuego, potentially giving his team a chance to move up or spread out and maybe get something going, but no, where's the support? Oh, what is this?
That position alone was only sustainable for, you know, a certain amount of time, and no support from his teammates as they continue the rotation round to the west. Now Fuego can probably lock them out of this one pretty happily. They've got a lot of resources to work with. You can see just Calvin by himself here, 3 heals, 6 glue walls, 3 nades. That's a lot to be able to defend what is essentially just an open hill face.
Yeah, I'm just still very surprised, Twiggy, that I mean, looking at the map, the split was Brothers YT just completely broke off, but we'll talk about that in a second as we're getting Sundell. A 999. Holy.
Well, looks like if 999 were in that last game, Sundal might not have had an easier time, but Hags now, they're third partying this one.
Love
2 knocks
this.
for them already. Some brilliant timing on this push. 999 trying to get back at them. They do get 1 knock. Hags are able to revive that. Well, no, they're not. Edward over on the rock there, you can see, still down. Hiding behind the tree. Mr. T tries to go for the surprise hit. Trade's going either way. Rasta trying to keep up the dreams of the team. So last 2 members of Hags move in. Low health now for one of them, but
nice try.
Coming around behind. Good rotation around behind, being able to kite for the teammate. Hags will actually keep all members up.
Yeah, really good. Really well placed attack there from Hags, getting that third party. And speaking of third party, wait, this is 3 different teams as well. It's just 1 member left of RBG though.
Oh dear. CRJ really pushing through this one. Rambox Gaming is finally eliminated by them, but it's Osaka they have to deal with now. 1 player down. It's big for them. If they can get 2 squad wipes at this point, Osaka do have the high ground. It's going to be difficult to get up there and eliminate the team, but nades will assist them a lot in that one.
Oh my.
Lovely grenade launcher. Karma does manage to knock 1. Jeremy getting involved. Karma once again with the finish. CRJ, they push up the staircase undeterred, though. They will manage to get a res up, and they'll be able to finish off Jeremy, but that's back down there. Jordan finishing him off. Osaka get overrun. Somehow ZRJ win that one, but it was looking a bit ropey for them for a second.
It was looking ropey, but again, the recovery was solid, and only realistically losing 1 member. It's not bad at all. You take those trades all day, and Hags just continuing to run into issues on this rock that they had third-partied on, and now it's going to be Fuego coming in. They're going to find quite a bit of success. Multiple knocks coming out. That's going to be a flush points as well awarded, and I think it's just down to Sobri now.
The hunters become hunted.
Indeed.
They've had to back out down the hill, which is towards zone. Obviously, they're trying to start that rotation while they're... I don't know. We didn't quite see whether that was before the fight started that they started the rotation, or whether they started the rotation because they were getting hounded down by Fuego, but they're not going to make it to the zone. Fuego finish him off. Now the kill leaders looking to get back into Bermuda with some fire.
And I really liked, again, the fight that they had taken on Brothers YT. It's crazy to me that that split even happened. And then they came up, they realized this fight had gone down between 999 and Hags. Because of that, they were able to clean that up as well. But I want to give a shout out to 999, who, despite getting third party, did quite a bit of damage and held their own, even though they were in a much less advantageous position there. As we now move back to Navy, who this might be the team for me to watch all day, especially what we've seen so far.
Yeah, the clutch potential has been massive so far. Obviously, you know, you expect a team with 1 player left or 2 players left to play for zone and just sit around the edge, play for placements. They didn't do that whatsoever. Even with 1 player left, getting involved in other team fights and just trying to get people down. And they're moving in towards Fuego now, vying for control of plantation, these 2 teams. This is really the big amount of cover over towards the south of this new zone.
Right in front of him is shooting.
Fuego winning out the fight, though, so far. They will be able to res that. It's very safe positioning from both teams. A lot of hard cover to work with for both of them. And no flanks coming through from either team, but I think it's really going to be a war of attrition, this one, because the zone favors both of them, really.
It does favor both. It favors Navy just a little more just because they're actually holding more of the inside center of that circle. But regardless, Fuego can take their time here. They don't need to make this push very desperate. They have, as you said, a lot of time, both teams in the circle, and it does look like potentially Scott might be going for a flank all the way around, but he is going to find some damage. In fact, there it is. That's a knock. That may be the opening that this team needs.
Well, they actually do have to be very careful from behind as well, as Brothers YT are coming in. So when they make this push, they need to make it happen quickly.
Yep.
Navy trying to hold them back for long enough, and Fuego actually looking behind. They'll take down Shadow once again after being revived. Now Navy need to hold them off. Maybe that distraction from the backdrop team can do that for them. Fuego will knock 2. The Navy get involved as well. That's 1 finish for them. 2 players left up for Fuego. They try and keep him off. That's another kill for them. Only 1 player left on Navy alive. 1v2 for these guys here. Jumping out the window. Time Turner committed. Glue Wall's committed. Trying to just move all the way around. They'll take 1 down. 2 left standing. 1 left standing, sorry.
Navy, are they about
Pushes
to pull
round.
this
That's
off?
another. One left. No, didn't see that the last one got revived too quickly. Wait. Navy had two
Navy
players
had
left?
two. They had two. That's crazy. On top of having two, they have 8 kills already. They're gonna get that revival, which means that they were able to actually take them out. That was ridiculous. Fuego again will fall.
What an incredible team fight. Everything going on all at once. I think that distraction definitely from Brothers YT
Yeah, that was huge.
may have done the trick. Well, the fight between ZRJ now and USA Esports gets involved. Oh, lovely nade.
Yep.
That'll take down Joshua.
CR
Shots from afar. This is a nice off angle from the ZRJ player.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good nade in
my
return. 2 knocks
goodness.
for XL. Grift has to try and play defensive now. Put down glue walls, try and get 1 res off at least. Reses are very quick in free fire. Time Turner, good timing on that one. And they push around the corner, try and take it on the offense. But Team USA, they're pushing in quick. They're getting knocks down once again. Everybody's low, and they might actually just be able to finish this one on very quickly.
And Griffo has been such an impressive player. Even last season, seeing him return here on ZRJ is a nice little treat. But that fight was absolutely devastating. Nades came out, USA quite crippled. Now it's just 1 member left of ZRJ. And can he make anything happen here? These glue walls coming out. He's trying to desperately get around them. That 180 shotgun was almost a play, and oh, he's still alive. The glue wall usage here is insane.
Against his final member,
Oh.
Brothers YT, but Brothers YT will win it out. Just
Spider-Man.
about. I mean, not much left to work with.
No, not much left to work with us all at all. And as we see USA now on the bottom right of your screen there, and this little 2 box is gonna have control of that bridge. Meanwhile, it's still just 1 member of Navy, but even just 1 member of Navy is devastating. He's gonna land that shot. He needs to get out. Oh,
Oh, the timing on that. Absolutely pixel perfect from Diablo. Getting another point for the team.
Oh,
Gonna need to run inside quickly. Oh, I mean, back involved gets USA Esports. Spider-Man is now playing very defensively on the edge of zone. But R15, they have control of the zone here. Only 1 player, however. Sober in that new zone, but Diablo is going to have to fight to try and go over towards his teammate as USA Esports, they're holding that position very nicely. Firing down from on top of the hill, maybe just try and hold them back for long enough.
I actually love this right
Rounded.
now. I was gonna say from Diablo that he didn't even really need to get in. He just needed to do as much damage as possible.
USA now move in towards the remaining member of R15, Dobo, who is taking control, but no, very quickly finished off the Time Turner. Not enough to keep him alive. USA Esports will take the second Group D Booyah.
Yeah, and USA, for all intents and purposes, played that really, really calm and not necessarily passively. They did a lot of damage, but they pretty much just took their time going around the edge of the circle, clearing things up. They got to that bridge fight as well, which they were able to clear up and even recover in after quite a messy fight, if I'm being honest, and basically clean up. They didn't overcommit as well. The last member of Navy, which was really good, and yeah, they were just able to clean up the circle and get the win.
Yeah, I mean, really well played, but I mean, we saw both Team 999 and Brothers YT get involved in that one, which is lovely to see after their non-show for that first game of the, first map of the series today. So, I think everybody, once again, from Group D, almost working together once again to join that one up. R15 official, the only Group C team to get towards the end of that one, apart from Navy Esports, obviously, who the Clutch Masters being able to get 4th place in that one. Somehow, but despite all odds. But yeah, no, I mean, Zundel Esports not quite getting as much out of that game as they'd have liked. Rambox Gaming, once again. Osaka, kind of mid-game, getting knocked out by Navy as they dropped in on top of them. But as we can see here once again, it's really, the story of the day is Group C is kind of getting rolled a little bit by Group D.
Which is not, I think, what we expected at all, right? Especially looking at the teams in Group C. You have Fuego, Laono, Hags. I mean, Navy, at the very least, is doing quite well. But yeah, this has actually been quite wild to watch. Team 999, again, for me, was definitely one of the teams I want to give a big shout-out to as well. I mean, ZRJ doing a great job fighting, but Navy continues to impress.
I mean, this fight against Fuego was absolutely amazing, being able to take out what were at that point the kill leaders with just the scrappiest fight I've ever seen, but somehow also the most impressive fight I've ever seen.
That was incredibly scrappy.
There was always just 1 player left around the corner, 1 player left doing damage. No matter what happened, nobody gave up any control there. Another scrappy fight between ZRJ and the remaining member of Brothers YT as well. Finally, Team USA take the win at the end of that, and they're actually going to take a lot of points for that one. Not quite as many as Sundelt on their first game, but I think overall that will take them above them. 19 points with 7 kills. R15 official very close, 16 with 7, but you can see there, Navy Esports taking 16 as well with their 9 kills that game.
And Brothers YT, with only 1 kill, they do get 9 points, but the thing that was most surprising to me was the way that they dealt with the pressure from Fuego, right? When we saw them coming into the south side of that circle, they had one member firing back, even getting a knock on Fuego, but the rest of the team of Brothers YT was just gone, right? They just basically scattered to the wind and left him to fend for himself. And that, man, that decision, it was just really wild, because I feel like if they had just stayed and fight, they could have potentially just wiped Fuego there, especially with the opening that they got. So hoping that Brothers YT come together a little more as a team in situations like that, but it remains to be seen. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting dynamic that this kind of, obviously we're going to talk about it all the time with this one, the new meta brings around with reviving, is that you can kind of just leave a player and go, because you don't have to pick up a card or anything like that, you just can select to revive a player once you're on that revive spot. It's just kind of go, okay, vying for that control now, we're too far away to come join you, let's just leave, and we can res you immediately afterwards, all good, don't worry about that one. So it's an interesting kind of dynamic that brings about. But looking at the leaderboard for today, we can see after R15 official, they do stay on the lead, but Navy Esports right hot on their tails, USA Esports right behind them, and Sundel with their first win just behind. I mean, somehow R15 official and Navy Esports without a booyah, so many kill points, they're staying on top of the leaderboard for today so far. And
again, R15 last in the last season was mostly a different roster, if I'm not mistaken, as well, but still the same mentality. This team just seems to have that very aggressive mentality. They come in, they go for the kills. Even at the end there, I think the last member of R15 was still being quite active as a solo against a full squad, as well as a duo and another solo as well. And I like that. I really like that mentality, and it's paying off. 13 kills, as you said, 31 points on the day. As far as teams that we expected to do very well today, I mean, Fuego and Laono specifically, kind of struggling, if I'm being honest, Twiggy.
Yeah, I mean, Laono got 63 points on their first day of competition. And, I mean, if they continue this form so far today, they will finish out with 15. The lowest we've seen in one day has been 24 so far. So we're hoping not to go any lower than that one. We'll see. But, you know, I mean, as we can see, teams seem to fluctuate incredibly. Sundel Esports got 24 points in their first game, still on 24 points, got 0 points in that second game. So obviously, as teams learn each other's playstyles, as teams kind of, you know, maybe some team isn't great at a map, they'll have one pop-off game, but generally they're going to perform worse than that game would indicate. So we are going to see a lot of this fluctuation, especially as, you know, Group D mix in with Group C. Group C have already, you know, learned to play against each other, but you know, can they adapt to Group D's playstyles? We'll see. So we are going to see a little bit of this fluctuation, so I'm expecting Laonu to come back into this one eventually.
And I think a big part of that as well is, as you said, these different lobbies kind of mixing in and getting used to each other, but also the rosters, right, Twiggy? A lot of these teams are coming in this season with new rosters, or just trying to mesh and figure things out, and obviously doing so in practice is great, but really they're going to have to figure it out in these games. And so some of these teams, yes, are going to have some poor games. They may not have the best rotations. They may get wiped in a team fight because comms weren't quite as tight as they should be. With that being said, I think once we start to see the wheels start to turn in some of these teams, then we're going to see less mistakes and some really more dominating play, for instance, like the play that we've been seeing so far from Navy.
Yeah, I do think that's an interesting part about the kind of dynamic that the Battle Royales bring in terms of your kind of roster compared to other kind of FPS games, is that, you know, it takes, I feel like, almost, even though they're smaller teams, longer to kind of get used to your team. It's going to take several months to kind of really be meshing properly, because the gameplay is so different. It's not just learning strategies together. It's not just being able to trade off each other. It's being able to kind of have your own rotation strategy as a team, be able to mesh on a Twitch level, being able to kind of, you know, just be able to immediately make decisions that kind of work with the rest of your team. Is so different from any other kind of game. That's why I think, you know, when you make big roster changes in these, you do see so many teams that are just a group of friends that have played together for years. And even if one player isn't like absolutely amazing, you know, a star solo player, it can work so well to just have a team that meshes really well.
I mean, we've seen it before in other games as well. Having a team of superstars is not necessarily better than having a team that's greater than the sum of its parts, right? And I think because of that, those teams that generally are just a lot of really heavy fraggers don't do very well because either the communication or something breaks down mid-game. Whereas, as you're saying, you have a team of friends or someone that have a lot of trust and have a lot of time playing together. That is going to be much more beneficial than just having a bunch of mechanically nuts players. Don't get me wrong, having a bunch of mechanically nuts players can be really devastating for other teams on the field. But I really think, again, it's going to take, probably many more games for these guys to really get used to each other, especially if they're coming in with a new roster, or especially these mixed rosters. We see some of the season 1 players, kind of mixing and matching about once they've got a feel for how they like to play and maybe find that likeness in other members on the field. But overall, I think these teams, once they get really comfortable with each other, then we're going to see some truly dominating performances. Otherwise, I think it's going to be kind of inconsistent, which is what we've had today. And over just this event so far.
Yeah, of course. Well, we're going to see a completely different dynamic coming through now as our teams drop into Kalahari. A very, very different map to Bermuda in terms of everything from cover to distance between cover. It's going to very much favor those long-range teams, and we do see a big kind of gap between performance in Bermuda and performance in Kalahari between teams. We can see hot drops all over the map already as 999 get involved, Navy get involved, Hags get involved. Wego trying to defend a position here from Rambox Gaming. We're going to see a lot of these kind of... once again, I think this is going to be such a more difficult map to get reses off.
Yes.
There's not a lot of hard cover to work with. You can't just retreat to a different location because there's so many positions you can see so far from.
No, this map is definitely going to be much more difficult as far as to get reses on, and as well as some of the teams. I mean, this was... We talked about it at the top of the show, as well as even, I think, the last couple of games. This was Fuego's worst map. And so the fact that they didn't have a good map 1 when we were on Bermuda, which was their best map, I really hope they can bring it together and just have a better performance today. If not for the last map, they kind of messed that up, on the very least here on Kalahari.
Well, Team 999 and Navy getting involved with each other. Already one player down for Navy. They managed to res one, but one player lost. Trying to defend the position. I mean, this is such an interesting one because there's so many different levels to be able to shoot down, shoot up from. A lot of different cover, a lot of different angles that you can see everybody from. This is really probably the most built up area of the map. Luckily, Navy are able to kind of rotate round without being seen. We've got Alcalde sitting off towards the right there. Oh, I think head spotted by Mr. T. They are able to find one location, but that might not work out great for them as the rest of the team is rotating all the way around. We can see also Team USA, once again with Hags, trying to run away.
They might not even get the opportunity to, as look at this aggression coming in here. Oh, but 3 knocked for 999. That is devastating, and Mr. T as well is going to go down.
Well, able to get one more finish. Now we're down to a, I think 1v1, I believe.
Yeah, this is
T.
crazy.
Yeah, backing behind cover. Both players taking a lot of damage, having to heal up. You just see this is such a difficult location now. I think it might benefit both players to get away from this. The zone is right next to them, luckily. They don't have to worry too much about their rotations just yet, but Ramon is going to start to just move away, not engage in that fight whatsoever. You know, no heals to work with, no glue walls to work with, not a single nade.
Yeah.
You might want to just try and back up and get your teams back up now.
Utility not looking great as well, and for Ramon as well as the other member of 999, it's so interesting to see when they make the decision on when they want to fight, even in those 1v1s, and when they actually break off to go for a res. We look at USA getting kind of dismantled here by Hags, actually. 2 members already down, and Hags is just going to retreat after pretty much doing what they wanted there to Team USA.
Yeah, they are able to, well, moving away from it now, but they would be able to defend that kind of res zone. They might actually be able to have a good eye on it. As everybody moves in, I mean, you can see Hags is down here. You can see on the high ground ZRJ.
Yeah.
R15 moving in from the other side of that valley there. So lots of, well, a lot to work with for everybody. But Hags kind of caught in the middle of this valley. Luckily, a little bit of cover for them, but they're going to have to commit a lot of glue walls, I feel like, to get out of that location now as The zone starts to move. Everybody pushed in towards the center of the map a little more. That's just a lovely high ground to have.
Yeah. I was about to say, I really, really love ZRJ's position here. The high ground is quite disgusting. They can send shots pretty much however they want. And we're back here. Look at this, Twiggy. But 2 members of Navy. So they were able to recover 1, it seems. And now just Mr. T, who initially had such a good position, right? He was able to get high ground. He was able to basically spot out most of the Navy members. But even still, it didn't work out for them. And now he's got to survive. He's getting shot at. This could be the end of 999.
Oh, and in drops a 3rd Navy player there. They've got 2 res back up now, and that's really the mechanic coming back to bite Team 999 in the butt. Moving around. They do have 3 kills on the board at least, so a consolation prize, but you don't really want to get knocked in the first, the first 2 teams of the group. Oh god, in move, Team Navy. Just trying to push all the way around. They're going to be able to attack from all angles here. Trying to take high ground now is Mr. T. Defend the staircase with the shotgun. It's very close, and he's visible from the lower ground. Puts down the time turner to keep him away. Pushes into the time turner. Team 999 eliminated first, and it's a quadra kill for Ramon.
Yeah, and let's just be honest. The way that they pushed that and the way that they played for a trade just in case there was a knock was beautiful. Yes, it was dangerous because the shotgun was in play from Mr. T, but overall, I really love the pressure there and just the finish from Navy. Meanwhile, moving back over to Osaka, finding themselves actually in a pretty decent position overall. As they're just off center of the center circle. They have all 4 members up. Loot is looking pretty good as well. They haven't been involved in too many fights, so I imagine they'll be all right. Look at this. What is happening here?
You say on the edge of the danger zone here. Mudo does not want to be anywhere near
No, he's like, nope.
As the last player alive, yeah. You don't want to just get hit by a stray drop. Navy actually managed to get their last member back up now, so as a full team, going to be able to once again, as we've seen, contest for the win there. Mudo just about gets around in time to not be taken out by Rambox Gaming, who, I mean, they're going to be pretty happy with their performance at the start of this game. They've managed to rack up 15 points so far in the last 2 games, so they definitely do really need to get involved. I feel like not a terrible location to beat in terms of points, but you do want to improve on that. But Zundel, once again, I think third-partying Hags for, I think, the 2nd time in 3 maps now.
I would be so frustrated if I was like, get this team off me. But you're right. I mean, Hags has been quite obnoxious. And even just going back real quick to talking about RBG, I mean, it's one of those things where they have one of the best positions in the circle, but are they really going to be able to capitalize on points, right? We talk about kills and how important those can be. Sometimes being center circle and being in the best position doesn't necessarily lend to a good amount of points as far as kills are concerned.
Buying now for control of the res point here. It is not available. It has been used already. I'm not sure if they know this. They should. It does show on their minimap. I'm pretty certain that it has been used. So I think Zundel are just backing out of this one. I mean, they have a full team available. They've already taken down one of Hags. Hags are a little bit crippled. Oh no, maybe it was just a feint moving away. No, they do want to get towards zone and just try and keep Hags out of there. Hags are going to have to go for a long rotation to get into zone, I feel like now.
Yeah, they're going to come in from the south side, and they're actually quite split as well. Edward isn't even near them as we now look at the fight here between, looks like Osaka and R15. Osaka is definitely one of the teams, again, that I really enjoy watching just because of their aggression, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that their aggression pays off for them as they're going against R15, who, if you want to talk about aggression, has had quite a good day so far.
Yeah. Thanks to manage to get one player back up in Edward, who isn't moving. I'm not sure whether after dying has left the phone and gone to get a drink or something. But Navy rotating around without seeing him.
There we go.
Okay, we're moving now. There we go. But yeah, no, Navy going for a long rotation as well. But we're seeing now Osaka get involved with R15. Oh, it's so aggressive, isn't it? As they move in all the way. Bestie are trying to move away, but shots firing down, and I mean, they chase so quickly on this one. No fear whatsoever.
That's actually just what I love about this game in general, is teams are just unnecessarily aggressive at times. So they just really want to go for the... I mean, this one makes sense, right? You want to get rid of one of the last players on this team, or you want to just get a free point when you can, but just in general, the aggression in this game seems to be dialed up to 11, and it's a treat to see as we now watch Brian Kinney come around. He is going to get that knock easy. That should be a flush, and another member down for our...
Yeah, absolutely brilliant for Osaka once again. No casualties whatsoever, and they will wipe out 15. A long shot will finish off the last member. Oh, that's very good for them. They hadn't had a brilliant start so far for a team that we'd expected to do very well, but now getting well involved over in Kalahari might just be their map. Fuego. Not managed to get involved so far, but taking shots down on Brothers YT. Purgatory there can't quite find the finishing shot onto Pedro Boy, but doesn't matter because they do have quite a nice position on this high ground. They'll be able to move all the way around, and oh, look at that. Holding down on top of Shadow. They must hear him moving at the very least. Yeah, they hear him, and they're going to be able to go on the chase here.
Yep, that should be a free kill. Oh, these try just 360. Oh, wait a second. Okay, there it is. There it is. we tried. We really thought that hopefully we make something happen. But yeah, Fuego. Now this is looking like the Fuego that we've come to expect. This is the team that tends to just spread out and dominate the teams around them. And of course, even just sitting by that sign, using the hard cover as well as the blue walls. Yeah, this is, I mean, beautiful shots coming out from Clever. They are just picking apart Brothers White.
Huh. Yeah, maybe been training their Kalahari. Might be why they weren't as effective on Bermuda as we expected, because they really are pushing in. And this is really just effective play. It's well calculated. It's finding good positioning, being able to just take shots without too much, you know, risk to themselves. Gives them 3 free kills. Last player of Brothers YT backs out, but getting held off now, and I think they do know whether he is Rambox Gaming. So awkward position now, sandwiched between 2 full teams.
And Rambox really just wants to get rid of Chuck so they can rotate into that northwest area without anyone coming behind. As we've seen, they're quite aware damage that a solo can do. But I don't even think the solo right now is going to be their biggest worry.
You know, Fuego move in from the south now, just trying to stay away from the zone. 1 player knocked, and they will be finished in Clever. Calvin does fire back, though, managing to find 1 knock onto the Rambox Gaming side, and Shaka's going to use that as a opportunity to get well away, but Fuego move in even further. USC Esports, in the meantime, they have been eliminated. Navy as the kill leaders now. Hags not managing to find a break, as they are now sandwiched between Rambox Gaming, Fuego, and ERJ.
Yeah, and the craziest thing to me is the fact that, again, we saw Edward not move quite a bit. They're split, so it's really just 1 member of Hags here, I believe. And then Rambox also down to just 2 members here, trying to consolidate and get together is Mr. Edwin and Kurto as he's laying down fire. Calvin's stuck. Yeah, Calvin's stuck. That should be a knock. Oh, he busts out the time turner.
Oh,
He's not
wow.
gonna make it out.
It's a good attempt. They do manage to get themselves well into the points. That'll be 2 points for placement. And they got themselves some kills as well. Oh, dear. That didn't quite work out for Kirito. 1 knockdown and only 1 player left alive for RBG. Hiding in the corner just outside of the zone. Lots of heals to work with. Hags does have to take a break to heal as well, so it's a 1v1 in this location, despite Hags having, 3 players alive. They're all spread out across the map, so this could be, well, either beneficial or absolutely terrible for the team. Mr. Edwin gonna move outside of his embankment here, but, firing shots back! A lot of damage done to both players, but it's mostly done to Mr. Edwin. He's gonna have to block himself well in. They're now just trying to break this. It's just a war of attrition now because both players have so much utility to work with. It's just this idea of how far can he get out of this place without being caught by the zone. Gonna push all the way out and does find the knock onto Isos. Gets the finish as well. Rambox Gaming somehow surviving that situation.
That is really crazy. I did not think he was going to survive that. But again, this just goes to the fact that Hags is so split. They're basically playing 4 corners on this map, spreading out, seeing how many kills they can get alone or solos. But it's not working out as Osaka now stuck on the edge trying to rotate in. They're going to be coming in on the east side. And Arno is not going to let them come in as easy. But fighting back, it's just down to Jeremy.
Oh my, ZRJ get involved and Osaka... Oh, Osaka eliminated eventually, but Onu have already done so much being eliminated by ZRJ. With the high ground, this is working so well for them. They rotated so early into this position, and they've kept it for this whole time. The zone has worked out perfectly for them. They just have such a brilliant overview of the whole map. Now on 8 kills. Still leaders by a long way. Jordan with 5. they just have such a brilliant angle.
Oh, the
Grifo,
shots.
2 finishes there. Oh, and another for the team. They're on 11 kills now. And they just have the best positioning so far. Well, apart from Shadow, somehow, who's taken the high ground. But, I mean, the zone doesn't favor them. They're going to have to drop down from there at some point, and that's a difficult one to drop down from.
Yeah, and as you can see, I mean, they're just having a field day up here is ZRJ, and this is a symptom of what they like to do actually working for them, right? We see them rotate early. They generally like to take center. In fact, they did it last game, but Twiggy, it doesn't work out for them for the most part. But when it does, when they're able to actually execute the strategy, I mean, 11 kills already, about to make it 12.
Yeah, Chuck down. Will be finished eventually behind the glue wall. It's 12 kills now for ZRJ, absolutely racking them up. If they win this game, they'll be matching the top map for the day on 24.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be able to move back round. They know that there's still one player alive. It wasn't a straight finish, so Shadow behind them, and will actually give away the location by shooting back down at them, trying to get some kill points for themselves. Zundel Esports, in the meantime, taken down by Navy, who we expected them to do quite well, but they are going to be, in the last team fight. ZRJ, full squad versus Navy.
Oh,
3 members, but make that 3 for ZRJ. Oh, an early push has been completely cut out. Jordan fires back onto Alcalde.
This is such a weird play from ZRJ.
They're right on top of them as well. They're going to have to drop down at some point. That zone is going to move past the edge of that hill, I feel like. Grifo on the floor. Finished now. All 4 members of Navy still alive. ZRJ moving in. Jordan is finished as he tries to drop down the hill as well. A lovely place nade, but they don't know where the last player is. 2 snipes, 2 knocks, 3 knocks! Will he be able to find the last? Lewis, down on the bottom. Oh, no! Manages to find the last kill. Almost the clutch there, but just about finding it in the end. They will take their first. Booyah, it's Navy.
Wow, that was really wild. ZRJ and Navy, I mean, it came down to last little 1v1, but again, that position that ZRJ had taken early, just paying dividends for him. They had 11 kills, but on the other side of the map, I mean, getting to that point where it was just the 2 teams, I think Navy also had 11 kills going into that. So, I mean, between those 2 teams, they basically took out the entire lobby.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really just kind of amazing. Just managing to, I feel like just solidify their place. These 2 teams both obviously Group C. Once again, we saw that Group D were doing so well on Bermuda there. Looks like Group C, they're the kings of Kalahari. We've seen Navy now, I think, jump well up in placement, because that is a lot of points for them. We'll be able to take a look at the scores of that map in just a second. But I mean, what an amazing game for both of them. We were singing the praises for quite a long time there of course. Sorry, completely wiped my mind. Sorry, I'm looking at all the names of all the teams and I just completely forgot where everybody is. Navy doing so well. Obviously, ZRJ, they did so well with their positioning. We talk about how it's, a risky play, the way they go in for such early rotations. It doesn't work out a lot of the time because you're in the middle of the zone. But when it does, when the zone favors you, they just had such a nice high ground. It was just the fact that Navy Esports are so incredibly effective at finding kills that they managed to clutch it out in the end.
I also want to point out that Navy, remember, they were down to a 1v1 at the very beginning of the game. So it's very possible that Navy don't even make it there because of the fact they were able to recover 4 members, wipe out Team 999. They then were able to contest pretty much the rest of the circle. And honestly, like, Navy coming into this, they've had a really rough start, especially in like team fighting, where they're kind of getting outclassed by their teams. And for them to turn it around today, coming into this group stage, I mean, they have looked like one of the best teams, if not arguably the best team of the lobby, I'd say at this point. And that's really saying something, considering you have teams like Fuego, Sokka, and others. So, man, 14 kills. Whoa. That is ridiculous.
They will take the highest map score of the day so far. 14 kills, 12 for their first place. Will put them with 26 points. I think that's going to take them well into the lead for the day. But ZRJ very close. 12 kills, second place, puts them on 21 points. We can take a look at the kills here. Ramon doing so well for his team. And I mean, to be fair, if I can't remember what player it was for ZRJ at the end there, but if they got that full squad wipe with the sniper rifle from that long range, they would be the kill leader of that game. But luckily, Navy just more consistent, I feel like, in those team fights.
Yeah, and even Calvin, though, shout out to him sneaking onto this top 5, even though Fuego went out, I think, slightly earlier. But yeah, that game was just 100% Navy and ZRJ. And I also want to say that it seems, kind of looking at even just the leaderboard in the last 3 games, brothers YT are not really finding any kills, and that for me is a little worrying.
Yeah, well, eventually, though, we do find Navy with their first booyah of the day. They've done so well on kills so far, but that puts them well at the top. 10 points away from ZRJ, who also, had some decent mid-table games in the first few of that. But, I mean, coming second with no booyahs, especially with, USA are at the number 6 there, Zundel Esports, just trying to keep up by, just trying to claw back any points they can get at this point after their first booyah on map 1. I mean, it's such a close grouping once again.
Absolutely, and even shout out to Hags there, who, although they don't have a booyah, they've been playing really well. R15 official, again, that's I think my favorite team, just as far as their aggressive play. I mean, we saw them really just kind of chase down Launa and others, and I really love that aggression. Yes, sometimes I think it could potentially hurt them, especially in this game when fights tend to pop off quite often and third parties are not rare at all. In fact, they're quite common. I still love the mentality of, look, we're going to push every team. We're going to get as much damage as we can. We're going to get as many kills as we can. And so far, at least today, it's been working for the top 5 teams, specifically R15.
Yeah, absolutely. We can take a look at the leaderboard. Overall, now Club D, Group D getting well involved in these point standings. You can see 1A and Duel Kings have slipped behind them. 30 points for Duel Kings, 24 for 1A, and we can now see Zundel Esports on 35, but right up there with USA 26. Although, yeah, I mean, well, the big winners on that map, definitely Group C. You can see now Navy Esports are contending with Fuego for that first place in C. Raised into the top 5 overall now. They're doing incredibly well for themselves in their first, this Group C second day, obviously, as well as Group A. So these are the 2 teams we're expecting to be up there. You can see Atomic actually also contending with that one, but, getting ahead of most of the Group A standings, only halfway into their second day is absolutely massive for them.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Only halfway into the second day, and we still have more days as well coming, right? So even if these teams, yes, maybe not have the best start, especially for Group D. Obviously, a lot of these guys are coming. This is going to be their first day of play. They still have 3 games at the very least today to kind of ride some momentum, or at least build some momentum, I should say, going into future days of the group stages, and that hopefully will help them. But still have 3 games left today.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 3 games, obviously, we're going to have coming up. But first, we're going to need to go to a little quick break. We've had 3 games. We've got 3 more to come up for you. But we just need to get everybody needs a little break, cool down after that excitement.
Yeah, I do.
So, yeah, exactly. We'll see you in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere.
Survivors, welcome to Season 2 of the Free Fire Pro Series. We're back to bring you more action, more talent, and even more booyahs for the best teams in North America. On top of a whopping $50,000 prize pool and the bragging rights of being crowned the FFPS Grand Champion, this season the winners will also earn the first ever North American invite to the Free Fire World Series. But before they get there, teams will have to fight their way through a grueling 2-month tournament, including an open qualifier, group stage, last chance qualifier, and grand finals. The action started earlier this month with the open qualifier, where 192 teams from all across North America joined the FFPS for the first stage of the tournament. Each qualifier round featured 6 games, where teams earned points based on their in-game performance, including their placement and their kills in the 12-team lobbies. Only teams in the top half of their lobby moved through each of the qualifying rounds, making their way through the round of 192, the round of 96, and the round of 48. The bottom 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals joined the top 30 from the round of 48 and the last open qualifier round, the round of 36. The 18 teams left standing from the final round earned their spots in the group stage. For the group stage, the top teams from the open qualifier will be joined by even more invited teams from Season 1. The top 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals will qualify straight into a 24-team group stage, alongside the open qualifier teams from Season 2. Teams will be split up into groups of 6, and these groups will face off in a double round-robin format where each group will battle each other in a 12-team lobby twice. This stage will take place across 4 weeks, with 3 game days per week. In the end, the top 8 teams will punch their tickets straight to the finals. The 9th through 20th place teams will earn one last shot in the last chance qualifier, and the bottom 4 teams will be eliminated from the tournament. The last chance qualifier will be a 2-day gauntlet where teams that fail to qualify from the group stage will get their last chance to earn a place in the finals and fight for the title of FFPS Grand Champion. 12 games will give the top 4 teams a shot in the finals, while the remaining teams will be eliminated. The Grand Finals will pit the top 12 teams in North America against each other in a 3-day event. 6 games per day for a total of 18 games will be played for teams to claim their piece of the $50,000 prize pool and for a grand champion to be crowned. Which squad will reign supreme and get their chance to represent North America in the World Series? Tune in to find out.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Free Fire Pro Series, where if you weren't here for the first 3 games of the day, you are really missing out, and it's continuing to be an absolutely incredible day as our teams vie in their first 3 days, or after the first 3 days, to be their representative for North America on the world stage after this grand finals. But first it's the group stage, and it's early doors still, only day 3 of 12, so once again bringing you the action is myself, Twiggy, and Godspeed. How you doing?
I'm doing well. These first 3 games have been, I'm just going to say, they've been bangers. So really hoping for the next set of games here to be really good. I think the teams so far that we've been most impressive have to be easily Navy, or at least for me, it's been Navy, especially coming off of the group stages where, the qualifiers, where they kind of had a rough start. And they were being outclassed, quite frankly, in a lot of their team fights. That doesn't seem to be the case here at Twiggy.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had, obviously, our winners of the maps, our Booyahs, swapping around between teams. You can see here, Bermuda taken by both Zundel Esports and USA Esports. Navy taking the first map on Kalahari. We'll see if they can keep up that run of form, because so far nobody seems to be able to really keep that momentum going. We'll see right now as we move into our second map of Kalahari. What are you expecting for this one?
Again, the fact that I think Fuego had a much better game here says a lot, considering the last time we saw them in Kalahari, they really didn't. And so I think the adjustments, or whatever adjustments they've seemed to be making on the first map of Kalahari here were good. Now I'm curious to see if they can continue that moving forward. Now, that being said, I think there are a few teams that I'm starting to worry about just a little bit. One of those being Rambox, the other one being Brothers YT. I mean, they haven't really killed anything today.
Yeah, absolutely. They did get involved late today, but so far it just doesn't seem like they've had the cohesiveness that we would expect in this later stage of the tournament. Obviously, there's a lot of teams here. There are 24 teams involved in the group stage, but you do expect, after narrowing it down from 192 in that open qualifier, and with how many, 6 invited teams, it's looking almost like, they're just taking a little while to warm up into this higher level of competition. We do want to see a little more for them, as Fuego hot drop right on top of Rambox Gaming here, one of the other lower points of Group D.
Speaking of one of the teams that I was slightly worried about, Rambox here potentially the ability, they are going to find a kill. Maybe they can get a little more off this. We will see, but at least a better start.
Yeah, it's actually great for them. Fuego struggling to find their feet today once again, taking 1 casualty. I'm not sure if they want to run away from this one or not, but we're actually going to see the same 2 fights, or the same 2 teams,
same exact spot
involved
too,
here. Yeah, exactly the same spots. We've got Team 999 up on the high ground and Navy down on the low ground, both collecting weapons once again. This fight was not won by either team last time until well after the first fight happened. Team 999 eventually lost it to Team Navy, but Navy took a long time to take that one. It was a very even fight.
It was an even fight, came down to a 1v1, as you said, but the recovery, again, I love the fact that reses are now a thing. It adds a different dynamic, a different layer of strategy to the game. Before we saw the very same 1v1, they would have just finished it off, right? No one would have backed off. They would have just went for the flush, but that is not the case here. And the fact that Navy was able to recover, get 4 members up, and then just do so much damage that game as well was so neat to see. And hopefully, at least for 999, another one of those teams that really hasn't had the best day so far. I'm just hoping for a little magic from them.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of a slower engagement than what we saw before, but they do get in close range eventually. Navy trying to take the attack to Team 999 this time. Time turner committed from 1 player. They have a nice position now, and they're moving as a squad together, trying to just fight for a little bit of control. A wraparound is very nice as well, as Team 999, they take the high ground now. Trying to stay away from Navy. It looks like they're playing on the defense a little bit.
At the very least, 99 has picked up the first kill, and so advantage goes to them. It is a 4v3. As you were saying, high ground position definitely in play for 99 as well. Mr. T's same building, doing quite a bit of work, and at the very least, from the start of this, it looks like 99 is holding their own.
Yeah. Zone is going to start moving in here. Both teams luckily well inside it, but 999 still taking what looks to be the better end of the stick on this one. Only 1 casualty, but they'll get back up. 2 knocks and 2 finishes down onto Team Navy, and it's looking a lot better than their first fight this time, as once again Chris is left to pick up the pieces. The last remaining member plays a lot more defensively in the team fights, means that they're generally the last player alive, but straight open. Time Turner committed, stays alive.
For how long, though?
Behind the tree, yeah, there's no hard cover to work with whatsoever. Not sure how many glue walls Chris has either, and it was just a matter of time. Navy Esport this time cut out early on. That's going to be nipped in the bud. Very...
oh, Mr. Edwin, not like this. And I saw, though, actually, from the two teams that I said I'd want to see more from, but at the very least, that's a kill. And we take those. We absolutely take those for Team Brothers YT as they desperately need it. Unfortunately, it is at the expense of Rambox.
Yeah. Again, two teams are well lower down. They're right next to each other. Only 4 points between these two teams right now. So every kill, you know, if you're really thinking about the long picture here, the bigger picture in terms of, you know, only 4 teams are going to be straight eliminated from the tournament. If you're not in the top 8, it doesn't really matter where you place. You're going to be in the LCQs no matter what. Yep. But you just don't want to be in that bottom 4 after the end of the 12 days. So really every point is going to matter for these lower down teams, because right now Rambox Gaming and Brothers YT are in the kill zone, as it were, at the bottom, the red zone. But obviously they've only had half a day to play. That's not too surprising. But if they don't really get those points up quickly, they're going to be stuck there after the end of today.
Yeah, and that's a really great point. Is like, yes, they do get kind of a little bit of a pass because it's their first day of play. But when you're coming in and you're 3 games in, going into game 4, and you're still so low on the leaderboard, I mean, that pass starts to become a little bit of a worry. Is just not sure if they're going to be able to find themselves out of that bottom 4. But as you said, you know, there's still games for them to be played and definitely adjustments to be made as we now move back over to 999. They had a beautiful dispatchment of the team that was Navy. Now they've set their sights on ZRJ.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of an interesting positional play here for the teams. They're not... No, one team doesn't really have the biggest advantage.
Yeah.
ZRJ are kind of split up. That does lead to one member of ZRJ being completely eliminated. Junior sprayed down.
Oh, goodness.
What a shot. Not even a sniper rifle there. Just a long-range assault shot will take down one member at the least of Team 999. As they move in closer now, they have to take the fight to them. One firing from high ground, but they really have that high ground covered, it seems like, ZRJ.
Yeah, they are. ZRJ is absolutely shredding anyone that peeks from that high ground. It's going to come down to Mr. T and the shotguns maybe for these close-range battles to make it work. Glue wall, time turner, everything's coming out all at once. Trying to find some respite. Mr. T, who for me at the very least, has probably been one of the most impressive players on this team. It's kind of been their backbone. They're watching, you know, their flank or just sitting in the high ground. This time he went in first, and he absolutely caught the heat. These nades are not coming in. ZRJ trying to finish it off.
3v3 means you are lacking, you know, a quarter of your whole kind of resources for the team. Obviously, every glue wall matters, especially on Kalahari, where there are so many open spaces. You're going to have to take positional advantages very slowly. Move forward, put a glue wall down. Move forward, put a glue wall down. Especially in the exit zone like these two teams are. It's really every meter will matter at that point. Oh, that was kind of... I like the alliteration of that. Anyway. But the danger zone lands right on top of them. They're going to have to worry about that one now.
Yep, danger zone on top of the fact that they are dangerously close to 999, though. I imagine both these teams potentially may split off from this fight and try to get in and not have to worry about the danger zone, but we've seen some crazier fights happen in some pretty interesting situations, and it doesn't look like either one of these teams wants to back off. That could be a beautifully thrown nade, but it doesn't find the mark.
ZRJ are just vying for time. I feel like leaving one behind just because, well, not because, to keep 999 back. They did actually manage to res one of their players. Now back up to a full squad. Viz back in the fight. Which leaves Team 99 in an awkward position, because they didn't do anything wrong.
No.
They were just holding that position, but they kind of, well, couldn't move any further because you had one player holding them down, but I think ZRJ played that incredibly well, leaving one player behind. Slowing down Team 999, and then just getting back their member. Now they have a much bigger advantage. Well, you can see Team 999 at least responding well, moving well away from them.
Well away, but ZRG holds still a good position. As you said, they are going to be able to get their members up. 99 potentially may be able to get a res somewhere as well if that is what they decide to do, but looking at Ono still on this very, very high ground, sniper rifles, DMRs, that's going to be really quite annoying to displace them.
Yeah, I was just watching. for now. Obviously, I mean, you're in Refinery. You've got a lot of cover to work with, so no need to get involved with a fight too early on. And there's so many zip lines as well. This is the big part of, I think, you know, the middle of the map here is that you can move anywhere from anywhere, pretty much. Refinery, command post. There's so many places. I love Refinery. It's just a little place to take control of early. If you're going to play early rotations, just a beautiful place because you can move anywhere from it, no matter where that zone is going to land. And more often than not, the zone is going to land on top of Refinery because it's right in the middle of the map. So obviously, you know, statistics, it's going to most likely land somewhere near that. Not this time, it's a little off to the east, but, you know, that was because the first zone was pretty much half out of the map. Half out of the playable map, at least. But
that's a good point, though. Yeah, it's a good point because at some point, Refinery will be in the circle, even if it's cut out like it is here on the west side edge. That still gives these teams so much room to work with. Again, the zip lines are huge, and then the different elevations. Fighting here can also be quite beneficial, especially if you're one of the teams with the high ground. You can set up traps with shotguns or glue walls, and so Refinery, as you stated, is a phenomenal position and definitely one of the higher priority ones on this map.
Yeah, they do go for a little early rotation once again, though. Probably betting that zone is probably not going to land on the west again. Obviously, it would have to be all the way on the west to land on top of Refinery once again, so more likely than not. They're going to have to move away from it at some point, so getting down off of that high ground before the zone starts to move in on you, definitely a good move from Fuego. I mean, you can see the kind of experience that this team has. The kind of, you know, good plays that we expect from them are inherent to them. You know, we've seen them not be particularly amazing on Kalahari, but at least the fundamentals of this team is always great to see because they definitely know what they're doing at all times. And now it's really slowed down. Every team is well kind of situated away from each other, starting to make these rotations into one zone, but not with too much ferocity.
Well, you're speaking about rotations. The circle definitely... I mean, Twiggy, look at the circle. It hard shifted to the northwest, which means that a lot of the teams are going to have to make much more drastic rotations. Specifically, I'm looking at teams like Zundel as well as Brothers YT, which have to make kind of the most annoying ones, and as well as Hags up to the northeast. Meanwhile, all the teams that are in this R15, Fuego coming in, ZRJ, 999, they're just going to have to be in fight after fight after fight as it's popping off right now.
Yeah, I mean, there are still 11 teams alive. Every time that zone goes in for another phase, that's another 3/4 of the map gone. So people, when you've got 11 people left in this third phase of the game, everyone moves in on top of each other. You can see how many teams are right next to each other. Even on the mini-map right now, we can see 4 teams over there. Hags trying to make any kind of positional advantage over on Osaka, who themselves aren't even technically within zone yet. You know, they have to be careful of Team 999 behind them, R15 behind them, and then right behind them is Rambox Gaming, all vying for the same location. Look at that.
This is going to be an absolute bloodbath, especially on this next circle shift. And that bridge has been such a factor in keeping these teams from getting, you know, any more foothold into the circle, as we see Osaka fighting their way, just trying to get past Team USA, who's now down to a lead 1 member. In the middle of this map is just nothing but chaos. Hags, at the very least, able to find some respite. They're gonna actually find themselves a pretty decent spot in the circle as well. So Hags making a hell of a rotation here.
Yeah, but all over the map. Chaos happening everywhere. You can see Brothers at YT getting taken down by Team 999. Once again, just not quite being able to win out the team fights. 3 of them down now. USA Esports trying to move in. Not many players left on that side either. Still 11 teams alive, even if a lot of them are down to 1 player now. Team, obviously, USA Esports down to 1 player. We've got YT down to 1 player. Everybody else, though, a full team. Yeah. Which just makes everything so jam-packed. It's so difficult to move now. Nobody can retake a different position. Nobody can rotate now. They just have to sit where they are and hope that at the very least they can hold on to their position, as our next zone is on top of a place with absolutely no cover.
Yep. I was just about to say, I don't know if you saw the zone, Twiggy, but the next zone shift means that everything that these teams have fought for, especially in the main city of Patron, is, well, it doesn't matter because none of that is in. It's going to be R15 on the east side trying to fight 999 here for whatever small cover they have at this point, this nice little building, but everyone else is going to either have to play on the west, up on the cliff next to Uno and Fuego, or they're going to have to play in the middle, and let me tell you, there's nothing to play in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, looks to me like Fuego, who did take refinery control early, they're going to be in a good position if they take down Laonu here. But it's... Oh, Hag's actually getting taken down from long range. They're trying to make a rotation round towards Fuego and Laonu here, but getting taken down by Rambox in the middle of that. Now getting involved with Laonu, actually helping out Fuego a little bit here. Fuego just hold on to their position for now. Just trying to play it slowly. Oh, one knocked. Hags Esports is down. That's unfortunate for them, as they were just trying a third party, but 2 players from Fuego are now finished. They do have the high ground. They have managed to make the position happen, but still fighting with Laonu. Long shots come out. Only Scott left.
There's no safety here, Twigs. There's no safety here for any of these teams as they're trying to rotate. They're just getting absolutely shredded. And even the teams that aren't even trying to get involved in any of these fights with third parties are just getting mauled. And look at this! What is going on?
Right in the middle. Our last zone has one piece of cover, and it's just the crate. Brothers YT taken out. As everybody moves in, you can just see Laonu absolutely taking away Zundel Esports. They just go, that's free real estate, as they move in. Over towards the... I mean, they're still on the only piece of high ground that is available right now. They got that kill well across the whole available map. But now, everything slows down once again. Osaka are in the same look at... What? Fuego come back into it? Scott just took out the whole...
I didn't even realize they had a chance. I thought Fuego was just out. Well, they were just down to basically one player, but Scott able to do so much work. And now, really, the only playable piece of cover seems to be, as you said, those crates, the annex boxes, but R15 nor 999 can get to it because they're embroiled in this fight of multiple elevations right now, with R15 being on top of this building.
I mean...
Look at the bush!
That's
the bush
insane.
is stuck to the crates.
There's nowhere anybody can go, because you move into that too early, you're going to get taken out immediately by Scott on the high ground, or ZRJ peeking through a window. Everybody's having to play super slow. It is Rambox Gaming that take the first step into the new zone. Osaka right behind them, R15 and Team 999 vying for control within a house that is now going to be shot out of zone. But look, they're just getting fired down upon. Osaka is eliminated eventually, as well as R15. They win out that fight, Team 999, but they need to move in now. They've taken control of the only piece of hard cover. Oh, but the wraparound from Rambox Gaming means that they are a full team alive. Scott's still alive, but they're getting moved on.
Oh my, what? This is absolute insanity. There's no way Scott survives this, right? There's no way he wins this. Oh my goodness, he might actually win this.
Knocked to the play zone. He's stuck in here. Gonna have to heal very quickly. No. CRJ is eliminated. Rambox Gaming somehow just came in and helped out Scott, who is now the last player alive on the squad. Oh, no, there was no way.
No, there's no way.
But Rambox Gaming, who previously had only racked up 21 points in 3 games, they take a booyah. They're going to have a lovely amount of points from that one game.
And again, that's exactly one of the teams that we were kind of talking about. Me specifically, Rambox and Brothers YT were 2 of the teams that I thought really needed to have at least 1 or 2 good games heading into the last set of games here of the day of 6. And they managed to find one here. And honestly, the way that they navigated that open field was beautiful. The fact that they were using their glue walls very well and using their time turners just to move up. I mean, that's how devastating that circle center was. But the fact that they were able to do it, they were able to hold off the rest of the teams and even get, I think, at least 6 or 7 kills in the process. Huge game from Rambox overall.
I think they actually end up with 9 kills at the end of that one.
Nice.
If I'm not mistaken, with the win, they get 12 points plus 9 kills. They'll have 21 points after that, putting them on today 42 points. If I'm correct. We'll see about that one in just a second. Mental math, we're just going to have to find out if that one's correct. But I mean, I feel like a fumbled victory there from Laonu, who got wiped out by the last remaining member of Fuego, who came second. I feel like if that was Laonu there, that's a victory for Laonu. With the high ground, being able to defend it as a full team, they would have been able to take that one, but they come away from that game with another uncharacteristic lack of points.
Yeah, I really feel like, I mean, if you look at the position the last Fuego member had, imagine if there was 2 more, right? 2 or 3 more members, which is exactly what Laonu had. The fact that he was able to do so much damage from the high ground alone before falling off, I feel like, I'm not sure if Rambox would have been able to make that cross if they had 2 or 3 members looking at them. But fortunately, they were. They took advantage of the situation. They realized that there was a fight happening up on the hill with the last remaining members of the 2 teams. They're able to punish that, and yeah, they got the win. As you were right, Caster Math pays off.
Oh.
9 kills, 21 points, and they are going to be quite happy about that performance with still 2 games left to play and potentially more points for them to grab.
Yeah, I mean, another very close game in terms of those points. La ONU only coming 7th, despite the amount of kills they got, 9 kills, but they got wiped out by Scott there from Fuego, who manages to get on the board 4 kills. 3 for them, but Mario and Prince down there with 3, who could have got way more if they were just more aware of the position of that last Fuego player. You know, they had helped defeat that Fuego team earlier on. It was them and Rambox that were firing down upon them. If they had just, I don't know, maybe it was map awareness, maybe it was just a lack of communication at the end there that meant they could wrap around and get that one. But wow, look at this. It's 33 points between every team here.
Yep, and even Brothers YT, who had a much better game, still, I worry that the only kill that they were able to snag was the kill that they got in the beginning. And so 20 points, again, still a possibility. We're going to have these big games, but I also think it's difficult because you have teams like Navy, you have teams like ZRJ, R15, who are just racking up the kills. And now Rambox, who were able to get 9, they doubled their kills from the first 3 games in just that last one alone, on top of getting the Booyah. And so that's going to be really big for them. Zundel, admittedly as well, have slowed down quite a bit after their explosive start in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really haven't seen many of their kills come up on this one. We saw they got wiped completely immediately in that game by, I think it was Rambox Gaming once again who did that. Just pushing in on them and just taking their location down. It seems a close-range fight. Zundel isn't quite ready. Well, I mean, we saw how good they were in that close-range fight, or many close-range fights in Bermuda, but it doesn't seem like they've brought that same energy into Kalahari here. They will stay on 38 points at this time, which isn't too bad. I mean, considering you're only, 15 points away from first place there. So you're still in the game, and 38 points compared to the amount of points that people got in the first day. If I compare it to, let's see, 38 right now, that would be comparable to SKB, who was the 4th worst performer. But, I mean, keep in mind, this is only 4 games into the day. So they will, I would say, if you're on 38 points now, you can expect to get up into the 50s at the very least by the end of the day, which would be, in that top 5 of the day. You can see how Zundel have performed so far, even with their Booyah, average placement of 6th. Only 4 kills per game. It's 1 squad, 1 per member.
It's not bad.
Yeah, mostly for Jeff. It's not, it's that mid-performance kind of thing that we would expect. This is the kind of team that we would expect to get into LCQs. We're not going to see them get eliminated probably, but it's kind of the height that these guys want to reach is that 8th place, and they're going to have to push a little harder to get into that top 8. I feel like.
I agree. However, the only caveat here being is that, remember, this is only their first day of play, right? So they haven't played yet, and you're right. The fact that they're going to be able to potentially push more than 50 points, 60 points to the first day is not bad at all. Yes, it's for the most part middling, as again you stated, but I agree 100%. The fact that this is their start isn't the worst, especially for a team coming in as just kind of a team looking to be an upset team, right? Not really the strongest showing in Season 1. They often got farmed and just kind of poor rotations. That doesn't seem to be necessarily the case, at the very least so far today in their first day of group play here. And the fact that they've added Zeus from the Season 1 iteration of ZRJ, which, as we've seen, ZRJ generally has some pretty good stuff going on with them as far as planning. It's just execution that's been their issue. I actually like this team. I like Zundel, and so I think moving forward they're going to be just fine, as long as they don't have any travesty games where they're not getting any points or just really getting 1 kill and getting wiped. I think they could potentially be that upset team that we may think for them to be. On the other side of the coin, looking at Team 999, I actually really like this team so far, even though I think as far as the leaderboard is concerned, they're not towards the top. But overall, I've liked the set plays that we've seen them try to make happen. And overall, they've gotten 6 kills, actually. 6 kills a game, less on the placement, but that's just because they are what seems to be a more frag-heavy team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how aggressive they were in that game after chasing, I think it was R15 earlier on in the game.
Yep.
Just chasing them down and being able to hunt down those kills was brilliant from them. they managed to get a lot of kill points. Obviously, yeah, 6 kills average per game. That's quite a hefty amount, especially for a team that's average placement is in the bottom, 4 or 5 per game. So that's absolutely insane from them that they're able to just do such an amount early game. But heading into Purgatory, what can you expect to change here?
I'm hoping that some of these teams that are having issues getting frags on the bottom find a little more aggression. At the very least, maybe not go for like a super hard hot drop, just go for something maybe on the outside and then fight when they're ready. Because I feel like for the teams that are getting wiped early, they just don't have, whether it's gear or any sort of utility to kind of use, and they're just kind of getting ran over by the higher kill teams in the lobby. And so maybe just some adjustments, a little less aggression in the beginning, get set up, and then go for whatever rotation or whatever push they want to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody's last attempt of the day to figure out their opponents, and this last reset that we're going to have of kind of the map being able to change up your playstyle. Everybody's going to be a little different in this map compared to what they were like in the other 2 maps. So, we're going to have another opportunity to reset the kind of mental reset, how you're going to play, what you're going to do, and obviously this map is so different. From, it's similar size to Kalahari in that sense, but, so much more water, so much more open ground, not as many kind of buildings that you can shoot from.
We've also seen quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken, we've seen quite a few bridge camps as well, especially if the circle tends to favor like one bridge specifically, considering there's multiple bridges on this map. The fact that you can have only one bridge in makes it difficult to cross, especially if you are going to try to go for something as far as under the bridge. That can be very devastating, and so these teams definitely have to be wary of that as well. Maybe an early rotation across if they need to make it would be more beneficial than waiting late and then just getting picked apart by the teams waiting for the cross.
2 of the finalists in that last game here dropping right on top of each other.
Not surprising.
Yeah, and CRJ. But it is First Blood that does go to Osaka, getting right involved with Team 999. Osaka have been kind of, not getting involved as much today as they have been, or as we expect them to at the very least.
Very aggressive
after their performance, especially in Season 1. But, I mean, look at this. 3 kills already. They're just wiping. And the Team 999 squad, that time turner is not going to last forever. Down go Team 999 immediately.
Wow.
I mean, an aggressive team that their aggression didn't pay off this time.
And I think, realistically, with Osaka as well, this team, you're absolutely right. They've been, I almost want to say, like too aggressive at times, which has gotten them in trouble. So I think if they can find that balance, it's very obvious from just what we saw there that Osaka is very good at early fighting as well. We see Osaka generally go for those hot drops. They have absolutely no qualms fighting another team early, and so I think because of that, if they can just taper that back a little bit in the mid game and not lose members or just kind of get really picked apart, then I really think that Osaka is one of the stronger teams in the lobby.
We'll see how they do on the last couple of maps here on Purgatory. Seems like they're well favored in that early game so far. Over towards Ski Lodge here, we do have Laonu, and just off in the distance, Zundel Esports, who are trying to take control of that side. They have been spotted out. Prince is holding close here. It's going to be an awkward location for Zundel to take control of now, because they have been completely figured out. They are well spread across this hillside.
Laono is trying to set up the trap here, Ziggy. They have some information, but what I'm curious about is how much information does Zundel have on this situation? And it seems like quite enough, because that's going to be a knock coming out immediately, as well as a flush. It's going to be a kill going straight to Zundel.
Look at Lectra going on top of the ski lodge here for a little flank. That could be massive. Because as Laonu back out and try and get together again, oh no, they're going to be right out in the open. If he hits this first shot, it's going to be absolutely massive. Just trying to get away now, but Shona has found Prince within the ski lodge. Goes into a bush. Don't think that's going to do much for you in this situation. Time Turner committed a bit early there, but there's Lectra on top of the roof, found his first kill onto Smith there. That's one down, but Prince is down in the meantime. Oh, it looks like Zundel Esports are back to their winning ways in terms of winning team fights, as Lectra fires down on top of the last remaining player of Laonu.
This position is so disgusting.
Yeah.
I would actually be so pissed if I was Milo right now. There's nothing. What do? You try to run in the open, you eventually get picked up. Yep, that's going to be it. And on the off screen, actually, it looks like Rambox absolutely devastated Brothers YT. In fact, is that a wipe or is there one member's? No, I think that's a wipe.
Yeah, that is a wipe. Rambox Gaming trying to keep up that momentum. Definitely now. 4 kills. All one team. It's very... I mean, look at the amount of utility that they have as well. You can see so much heals, so many glue walls available for the whole team. They've definitely, you know, not only taken position, but being able to loot a lot early game is going to favor them going into mid-game. Definitely on this one. So definitely, well, I mean, two of these Group D leaders already starting things off in Purgatory very well.
And that's what we wanted to see again from Rambox. Starting is maybe I was a little too harsh on them because although they had a slower start, I really feel like this team is actually quite good in the team fights. Even in some of the games they didn't do that well, we saw some glimmers of some really cool plays. And so, yeah, I think maybe I need to dial it back. Brothers YT though, I'm very worried about. Rambox, I'm not at all anymore. I don't even know why they were down there for me. They're very clearly doing just fine and able to adapt. But yeah, for Brothers YT to go out that quick, that. Again, that team it's just looking like bottom 4 may just be where they're at.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got eliminated. Yeah, they got eliminated just before that Laonu kill came in, so they will end this game with 0 points. Laonu will manage to sneak out 1 for their placement. Just by a matter of milliseconds getting taken out right after Brothers YT. So Brothers YT sitting still pretty at the bottom of the team, which could put them on the lowest points at the end of the day. Overall, we will see how that happens in the end of the map, but everybody now just playing very early rotations. Look at how many teams are in the middle of this zone.
And I think that's also a symptom of the fact that there were no bridges in play realistically, and so a lot of the teams were like, okay, we don't really have to worry about any crazy rotations. We can pretty much just move in, as it's a pretty, I'd say, probably the most vanilla circle we could have on Purgatory, right? There's just not a lot of shenanigans involved, so except for that ski launch nonsense that we saw. Getting on top of that is so devastating. But now moving over to Fuego and R15, looks like this fight's about to pop off, and it is.
Yeah, out by campsite here, vying for control of, well, the lodges. There's not a lot of places to be able to vie for here. Over towards the south of the zone. We're trying to just stop R15 from getting too far into this one is Fuego. I'll send out some nades a little too far away to make them effective. Oh, a long shot will do a lot of damage to the Fuego side. Bestie are trying to get away, but look how open this area is.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be the flank coming through that is really going to be big for Diablo. See if they can get back this fight.
A lot of damage coming out. Both members trading knocks left and right. It does look like Fuego, though, is starting to bleed just a little bit more. Time Turner's going to come out. Glue wall. Shotgun's in play.
Oh, the flank. It's worked out perfectly for Diablo. 2 knocks down on this and 2 finishes because nobody from Fuego is close enough. Brilliantly played from R15 getting that flank off, and it's going to... Oh, Scott once again. Oh my god. Scott manages to take 2 more down, which leaves it in a 2v2. Doesn't matter what Diablo did if Fuego can just come back into this one like that, and they've already got 1 res back up. Diablo's just playing around with his food here at this point. Oh, hold on. There we go. Finish that one off. But it's now the 2v2.
The other issue with that as well is the ability to res as we go later into the game is pretty much almost diminished, taken away, and so this might just be 2 members now for each team moving in. But yeah, they're going to get at least 1. R15 might actually be able to recover both, as we see Rambox here.
Oh!
They do.
They go for it as well.
Okay, so they actually just completely reset. I really love the res feature. I have to be honest.
I'm warming up to it a lot. Very big fan of this. RBG, they're trying to keep up this momentum. They're moving well in towards Navy Esports and ZRJ at the same time. They could find themselves in an awkward position if they go for an early rotation. I feel like they very much need to go around to the west here if they want to win this fight.
Agreed.
Pinch in Navy, but it's whether they know the position of the 2 teams that's going to judge what their decision making is here, and especially because you got 1 more team coming up from the north. I think that's USA Esports over to the top of the north of field. Sorry. So it's going to be difficult to make any rotations happen now. Maybe just play for space here. Sit where you are.
Yeah, the other big issue I think is going to plague these teams is there's not that much to play in the middle. And I say that as there is compounds or at the very least some buildings, but those are all taken. And so for the teams that are going to have to move in, they're going to have to move in and potentially just get shredded. Even glue walls I don't think is going to help very much, especially with the amount of teams that potentially would be looking at a team like USA coming in or even Osaka coming in from the northwest. I mean, we didn't even talk about the teams that are outside of Circle, which there are 2. R15, as they just recovered, and Zundel Esports, or just down there in the southeast. And I mean, I feel like this next shift is going to potentially really cut out at least half the teams in this lobby.
Yeah. Fight's still going on to the south between R15 and Fuego, but interestingly, Holbert, has been taken out there by Zundel Esports. Strayed a little too close to the sun. Bit of an Icarus moment. Fuego, they move through. They will eliminate R15. It didn't quite show up on the screen there, but they did actually push through and eliminate them. It will find that positional control over the south of the zone, but there's no cover to work with towards the south, so they're actually going to have to engage in a fight with some Zundel if they want to find anything there.
And the biggest issue is if they do that early, Twiggy, they're going to be losing out on utility, right? And they're going to come into an even more open circle, even if they do survive this, with pretty much nothing to work with. And that's the kind of biggest worry here as we move over to USA, who also has to come in, this time on the northwest, more of the west side of the circle. And one kill, they haven't had too much to contend with. And at the very least, they do have a decent position. But look at Osaka, actually. They're going to opt to redeploy here. Yeah. That's such a cool... What is that, a turtle shell?
Something like that. Yeah, it's a res on Takama. That's what has happened there. Just on the edge of the zone. But this is such an awkward one to move into for Osaka. You've got Hags trying to defend that area. You can see them just on the corner of the minimap. USA are stopping any kind of rotation coming through to the south, or to the west at the very least. Trying to get around there. So they actually have to go in towards one of these teams. No matter what they choose to do, they will have to engage in a fight to even get close to the new zone. And look how many teams are still alive. We've still got, what, 8?
What was that shot?
There it is. USA do get involved. Karma is down now. Just got rezzed.
That was a really wild shot. That's a really awful way to go down. Karma is going to go. So 3 members left for Osaka. They are going to make this push onto River and Hags here. Question is, if they can get if they can get this knock, they should be able to pour over, do quite a lot of damage
on the glue wall. Yep, stays alive for now at the very least. Buys a lot of time for the rest of the team to get involved. Somehow still alive, and I'm not sure what's going on there. They do manage to get the knock in the end, but the rest of the team of Hags has started moving in now. Osaka still have to keep up this fight, keep up this momentum, and with the amount of health they've lost, it's going to be difficult to keep up that efficacy in this next part of the fight. Ryan goes down. Another one goes down. It's just Jeremy left, and Hags got involved just at the right moment. I think it was just not getting that kill in time that has left Jeremy by himself. Time Turner committed. He gets behind a glue wall, stands inside of that one, tries to take down the rest of the team here. He is alone. He's still alive now. Well, 2v1. He manages to knock one, but it's a 1v1 now. USA are coming up around the crest of the hill, as well as Zundel Esports. Osaka are eventually eliminated, but in come USA Esports, completely eliminate Hags, and now it's a fight between USA and Zundel.
They cleaned up all of those, Twiggy, every single kill. How did that fight even take so long? How did Jeremy survive? And now it's going to be USA that has to deal with, as you said, Zundel, who just coming in licking their lips looking at all this fighting happen.
Very close to each other. It's such a slow fight for being so close. No cover to work with. Just glue walls, and they're running out now. You can see Braz is only on one. We'll move in, get one knock, but Zundel have completely wiped the rest of the team now. Just has to try and fight for any position. No, it's not going to happen. Completely overrun by Zundel, who joined that fight at the perfect moment.
And that just shows you how devastating it is to be one of the first teams that fight, right? As we saw, at first it was the third party coming in from USA, and then as soon as that happened, Zundel was already waiting. That was a fourth party situation. They should be able to get the res off. As you said, reses in this game are quite fast, and actually I do like that. But man, Zundel just continuing to find damage onto Navy, who's on that low ground. However, at the very least, I believe they have the better position because they're closer to the circle.
Yeah. They do have the high ground. They do have just slightly closer to the circle. So I feel like if they want to rotate around, they can do that, and it looks like that is what they're going to do. But in the meantime, Rambox Gaming getting involved with ZRJ. ZRJ push him down very aggressively. They're defending it well, though. Down goes one player. Viz will get in there. Oh, and Rambox Gaming do get wiped. It's a quick and effective fight from ZRJ. They'll manage to keep 3 players alive. But now it's just ZRJ, Fuego, Navy, and Zundel.
It's actually really, really clean movement there from ZRJ. That fight was very well executed. They're going to find themselves with 4 kills at the very least. But coming in from the south, they have to be careful. So still 3 other teams alive, and that's going to be Fuego 4 up and Navy with 4 up as well.
Fuego firing in shots towards Zundel here. They cannot catch a break after getting involved with that fight. Oh, and it's a lovely shot from Alcalde as well. Getting fired at from 2 teams. Fuego and Navy both getting involved in this one, and Zundel finding themselves between a rock and a hard place. That's going to be it for them. Scott managing to find 2 kills, but also 2 kills going the way of Navy there. Well, zone will fall. 3 teams left. Navy, Fuego, and ZRJ. ZRJ only 3 members, but everybody else a full team as they move in towards this last zone. Oh, frozen there. Oh, but Navy goes down. One shot fired either way. Fuego gets so many kills. Oh, and Navy Esports is already down. The long-range fight has just favored them perfectly. Well, ZRJ have a long way to go now.
Kills, and ZRJ not in the best position, as you said, and this is just going to be a farm party for Fuego. This is just down to a 3v2 here in Fuego's favor.
Junior finds 1 knock, which will slow down Fuego's momentum. Jordan trying to take a long flank around the back. Into already just waiting for this one. Junior goes around the left, taken down by Calvin. Only 1 player left on ZRJ.
Heroic task in order to get this 1v3, especially the position he's in. Blue wall's up. I'm not quite sure how much it's going to help. So we're going to see Into just go full aggression here. The nade's coming out. Potential play to happen. No. Nice try. But Fuego, back in form, Twig.
Yeah, it's what we were expecting from Fuego at the start of today, but they just about brought it out now. I mean, we were expecting it on Bermuda, but here it comes on Purgatory, and they will, well, just about, I mean, they've barely got any points today. 34 points before this one, which keeps them on 124 after their brilliant first day performance, but this is going to be nicely keeping up that momentum, keeping them well in contention of that finalists area, the top 8.
Absolutely. And then also, you know, we got to give it up to Zundel, who, although they started very strong, the last couple of games were not necessarily the best for them. I don't think they got a crazy amount of kills either, but man, the way they cleaned up, and then I even love the fact that they disengaged to go up to the north side of the circle to try to get back in. Ultimately, again, it didn't work out for them because of Fuego coming in and basically just dismantling the rest of that lobby, but good on them, Zundel, as well as I think it was Rambox actually that got a really clean wipe as well. Unfortunately, the team that they wiped was Brothers YT, but overall, yeah, Rambox, another really solid game from them. Consistency seems to be the key for them, and it's been working.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been really slowly kind of ramping up that pressure, and it seems to have, you know, it came to a head over in Kalahari, but it's still, you know, it hasn't dropped off going into Purgatory. They've really, really pushed into this next game, and it's staying very tight, I feel like. Every team is getting a shot at that bit, getting in towards those booyahs, and actually everybody, the grouping near the top, I get a feeling is going to be incredibly tight after we get the results in for that next game.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised if potentially one of the teams from Group C just ended up maybe even winning the whole thing. And I mean, these teams have been playing so well overall. Yes, for Group D, a lot of these teams have only played once, but I mean, even some of the teams in Group D is, again, Osaka, Rambox starting to really come alive, and USA and Zundel. I mean, Team 9, actually, yeah, this entire group, I'd say realistically, other than Brothers, and I'm not trying to harp on them too much, but it's just, they really do seem to be kind of the weakest team in this lobby.
Yeah, right now it is looking that way. Another disappointing mid-game for them. Not getting involved in the start as always. It's relatively, you know, time-tested strat is, so that's fine. Not getting involved in the start is okay, but if you can't back that up with any kind of performance mid-game, you know, you're getting 1 or 2 placement points. That's not enough to keep up with the rest of the teams. You need to get kills if you're going to play slowly at the start of the game. And that's just not what they've been doing.
I agree 100%. But, you know, in some of the other teams, R15 has actually been a team that has pretty much been gassed since the start, right? Dropping hot, getting really aggressive on multiple teams, and they've been finding success with it overall. I think that last game probably wasn't their best of the set so far of the day, but even then, they're just so aggressive. And this movement from ZRJ, I mean, ZRJ here was just so impressive. The fact that they didn't win, I think, isn't even that big of a deal, just considering how well they did in that game.
Fuego,
that's disgusting.
I mean, just ripped their way through the lobby. We didn't actually see a lot of their fights, but the way they came up all the way from the south, they just wiped out the whole of every other team coming from the south was completely theirs. 15 kills for them is almost 4 whole teams.
Yeah, it's actually...
yeah, exactly. You think of it that way. It's 27 points they'll come away with the closest to Sundell Esports with 16, 9 kills for them and a 4th placement. It's quite nice. CRJ only about getting involved right at the end of the game, getting that squad wipe onto Osaka. 13 points for them also keeps them well in contention. We can take a look at today's scores to see how that stacks up against all the rest of the teams. Look at that. ZRJ just about holding on to the top there. Navy Esports dropping down. But Fuego, they've got themselves right involved with those top 2.
That was huge considering I think they had, I think they were they were less than, I think, 30 points the last game or just over it. And so they basically doubled their score off that one game. We talked about them a lot at the top of the show. Their performance so far today wasn't that great, but man, they bounced back, and that shows me that they have quite the mental fortitude. Yeah, they had 34 points before that game, now up to 61. So good on Fuego to really recognize. Again, Zundel, for the most part, staying consistent. A couple games in the middle there that weren't that great, but love to see it from them bringing it back. And yeah, I think the adaptation from a lot of these teams in this lobby is what's starting to find them some consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. I think interestingly, can we take a look at the overall standings real quick? I think interestingly, the way this has been so tight with Group C has actually brought, look at this, 3 teams in Group A up in the top 5, but you can see the way Group C is dominating. Top 12. Like, only Group. Let's discount Atomic here, and let's discount the rest of Group B and D because only one day has been played for each of them. Group C and Group A, 2 teams who have played 2 days. Group C haven't even finished their first day yet, but the way this has been so even for Group C has put them ahead of those bottom 3 Group A players because Pizarro Esports and Club 9D have been so dominant that it's let Group C all the way into that top 8. They have now, they have 5 teams in the top 8 compared to Group A's 3. Although Group A are nearer the top, you've got so many of Group C, obviously 5 to 8. They have dominated, like almost, they probably will, by the end of today, have 5 teams on triple figures compared to Group A's 3, which is a completely interesting dynamic within that, is that because there's no massive, there's no like kind of oligarchy as there is in Group A in terms of dominance, it gets more of them a chance of getting to that final.
Yeah, and that's 2 things. That shows you, first of all, just how good Pissarra and Club 9D are, but that also just shows you how stacked Group C kind of really is, right?
Exactly.
You have so many strong teams. Even La Uno, who's kind of had a poor day, if I'm just being honest, still has 88 points based off of their previous performance, and that's a lot of points to get in one day. 173 though still is the benchmark, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen when we once again mix A and C together, as that's going to be 2 powerhouse groups. Still, D have the potential. Some of these teams like Zundel is definitely making the case that they're going to be able to go to the left side of the leaderboard and break that top 12 at the very least on their first day, which would be great to see. And then for some of the other teams that have already played, though, I would say that's a little worrying to see some of these Group D teams spiking up so high in the points.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, we're going to see both, I think, actually, specifically, Group A and Group C are both going to be stepping out next Friday. So we're actually going to see how Group B and Group D kind of catch up to them on that one. Then every team will be on 2 days played, and we'll actually see how that stacks up. But yeah, I could definitely see Zundel Esports definitely punching up into the top 8 after tomorrow's action. So it's going to be very interesting. Group B has been kind of disappointing so far in terms of how all of the teams stack up. They really underperformed against, they were playing against Group A in their first one, and that's understandable because Group A's teams seem to steal points away from everybody. Club 9D seems to absolutely wipe everybody, and then Pizarro Esports seems to also wipe everybody, so nobody had any chance there. But, it's interesting to see how the dynamics between each group is starting to work out. We're actually starting to get, like, little personalities of each group.
That's also the fun of having like kind of a round robin system with groups, right? Because you really get to mix and match the lobbies. It's not just one static lobby to see the same team dominating over and over again. And yeah, sure, within those subgroups, you're going to have teams that are better, but I still think that this is one of my favorite systems to watch, especially like in a battle royale, right? Where you're mixing so many different teams together. And I think that tends to be good. And for the teams that in Group D right now, maybe are even towards the bottom of the leaderboards, look, one good game, as we just saw coming out from the last, can really catapult you towards maybe not necessarily the top after a full 5 games, but towards the middle of the pack, which is going to be huge in helping those teams in Group D.
Absolutely. Well, we drop into our last game of the day. Map Purgatory once again. We'll see if the zone this time favors a little more water, a little more bridges, change up the play style a little bit, because I feel like that did favor a certain amount of teams
Yes.
in play style. Obviously, you know, I actually kind of expected Fuego to go for more kind of bridge camps. They actually had to do a lot of moving.
Yeah.
So I don't think that even favored them. So I think they could go to even greater heights if the zone favors the south side or the west side of the map on this one.
And I'm gonna be, you know, I'll be the bad guy, Twig. I really hope we get a messed up circle. I want to see something really sadistic. These guys really have to work for it. Bad rotations, because then that would give the teams like Fuego or the teams that want to make maybe advantage of just taking a bridge and taking control of it, you know, really come into play. Which I'm a sucker for really difficult to play circles. So I do hope we see it.
Well, a lot of teams dropping towards the south of the map compared to last game. We do see Fuego there once again, Laonu. Down there with them, ZRJ as well. Looks like long shots fired. But it is Fuego that get involved. Oh, sorry, Osaka that get involved first. On to, once again, Team 999, who... oh dear, losing out, on the fight once again. If they finish this one... as poorly as last game, they are going to be stuck right at the bottom of this leaderboard.
It's not going to be good for them at all. And for a team that's Mr. T, for me, has been the best player on the team so far today. I mean, the fact that he's always somewhere in a really obnoxious high ground position, just raining down these incredibly accurate shots, has been a pain for other teams. The problem, though, for Mr. T is that the rest of his team, unfortunately, tend to go down before he can really make something happen, and that's going to be a beautiful return shot there coming out from Osaka, and he's going to go down just up to Tail now.
Yeah, and where is Tail? No support, it doesn't seem like. Tail's off to the north. Okay, we take a look at the map real quick to see how far Tail is away from the rest of the team there, because that is an unreal amount of difference. The other side of Marbleworks, off to the north.
What is going on?
Yeah, that's a massive difference. He might actually get taken out by Navy before Osaka at that point. That is quite a difference. Actually moving even further north, staying away from Osaka as far as possible.
But look at this circle, Twiggy, yes!
There we go! Laonu eliminated by Fuego once again, who seems to be the thorn in Laonu's side at this point. Well, I think this circle definitely favors Fuego. I can't say it any other way. Yeah.
I couldn't have asked for a better circle for the last game on Purgatory, of course, the map with the most bridges and the potential for the most bridge camps. Fuego, this is actually something I've seen Fuego do before. They tend to like to sit on that south bridge, right? They really like camping that bottom area because it's also fairly easy for them to rotate across without too much opposition going forward. They can also technically keep an eye up on the bridge just north of them as well. So I really like the position that Fuego has.
There we go. We can see Tail. This is about where he was, by the way, when his team was fighting Osaka, or at least towards the end of the fight.
Yeah, not much has changed for him.
Yeah, closer to Crossroads than Marbleworks, so he's just kind of sat there. Navy might just come across him by accident and punish him for that positioning, but maybe might be able to get a kind of back mark.
Oh, what is that shot? Holy, that was some disgusting team shooting. I'd be very frustrated if that was me going down.
Yeah, that's ouch. Well, now I feel like maybe Taylor's going for a bit of a bridge camp. It is an area that does favor a kind of, you know, firing down on top of that. Maybe waiting for Navy to leave and get the res on the rest of the team, which would also be an interesting play. But Navy might be heading towards them, clear the area before they go for the rotation.
Looking at the map here, curious to see what the circle actually does, because if this actually pulls to the east, that causes a lot of problems for the teams that are set up on Metalworks, or excuse me, Marbleworks, or like near the golf course. You have ZRJ. Again, Fuego is just going to sit down on the south side of this, and I doubt they're really going to do anything other than try to camp this bridge, maybe get some kills coming across. But that north bridge where Navy is crossing right now, this could be a big problem, as USA has already set up. Excuse me, USA is behind, and Navy could set up in front of them, potentially cause some massive problems on rotations.
Yeah, I think definitely what Taylor's going for on Team 999 is waiting for teams to lead. But now that USA Esports have just come along and they can control of the spot where you would revive your players here, that's kind of awkward. For them.
Kind of a problem.
Oh no, they're moving in anyway. They haven't seen them. Taylor's moving in towards the revive spot no matter what. Oh dear.
Oh, no.
They're going to run right into the whole... The warm embrace.
There's no way,
of
right,
USA
that he
Esports.
gets around them?
I
There's
don't.
no way he sneaks by.
I mean, he's going to give it a shot, I feel like. Either way, right now, R15 is engaged in a fight with Zundel Esports. One player down now in Zeus. I mean, they're both outside the zone. They both have quite a long way to go over towards the south side of the map. And Fuego is holding the bridge.
That's awkward. That's so awkward.
Yeah.
And they're taking damage from the zone as well. Potentially a fast car could help the situation. It's definitely much better to cross that rather than on foot, although you still can't get picked out of it. It's a sweet ride, if I say so.
Yeah. Maybe probably costs quite a lot. Don't
I
crash
would
it.
imagine.
Don't crash it, Jeff. I can heal while he's in the car. There he goes. Well, that's beautiful.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, I had no idea that was even possible.
Alright, well, he's going to move past Fire Brigade. Might actually be able to get a res on the way. Doesn't look like it. Oh, wait. No, turning around. No, wait, no. I think he knows that every other team has taken positional control here. No, the rest of his team do manage to get that last player up, so they're back to a 4. But, I mean, they're so far separated at this point. R15 has completely sent them each and every direction. So getting together again is going to be difficult.
Yep, scattered in the wind, and now we see this first circle shift is going to happen, and it still very much keeps one bridge alive, and that is going to be bridge just in the center here, which means that Fuego still gets to camp and do exactly what they had planned to do.
Yeah. I think Hale is just about to get his teammates up, finally. Took quite a while for that area to be open, but here they come. Dropping into map, the rest of the team is back. Team 999 back in the fight. 4 players left. They do have to move quite quickly down towards the south. Because, I mean, this is another well-populated zone. We're heading towards Phase 3. Still got 9 teams alive, all of them full teams. Oh, Zundel, once again, running into R15. This was inevitable.
Oh, my.
What a shot from Garena.
That's... Garena has been so good all day, just hitting these disgusting long-range shots with the sniper. I don't think he's really missed many of those. The only time he's not fragging with that thing is when he's dead himself.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Diablo as well with a rifle. I mean, R15, again, I really love this squad, even though some of their fights don't go their way. In fact, I'd say quite a few of their fights haven't gone their way. I just love the aggression from these guys, and they just don't let off the gas ever.
Yep. Well, so far, just getting some more resources. They're on 7 kills. They can sit pretty and just try and play for zone now. They know that the rest of Zundel is still alive, but whether they're an issue to them at this point is not likely. Now,
yeah.
Oh no, Navy were firing upon USA Esports and kind of got dropped on by Osaka now. Can Osaka capitalize off it because they don't seem to have got a single kill since they joined this house, joined this fight. They are getting knocked down.
What is going on?
How? There we go. Finally, Ramon is down. In moves the rest of Osaka. They will, I think, win that team fight just about. Oh no, Chris is... No, here it is. Oh god, it's Chris. It's
not
Chris.
It's Chris again. We've seen Chris make some magic happen before, specifically in that very first game. He's able to snag 4 kills, and I think Osaka realized Chris is not worth the trouble, especially because the USA is actually right behind this.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a lot of games end in this location, actually. Down towards, Marble Works area. I mean, there is hard cover, but you have to stay crouched all the time. You have to stay on the ground because it's so low that it makes for a really interesting end game. I would like it to end it. But every team is right over towards the north. I mean, we can see 2 camps in terms of the map. We've got a north camp, we've got a south camp. And Fuego, once again, they're going to be defending that south camp from getting in towards the zone. But they need to make moves themselves because at this point, with so little cover, it's actually going to be very useful to early rotate on this one. Get in towards somewhere where you can get towards whatever the map throws at you.
And that's exactly the problem with the circle is although most of the teams are going to be able to find somewhere to play now, that next shift is going to absolutely devastate, I would say, at least half the teams currently in the zone. And oh my goodness, that is probably the hardest shift we could have gotten down to the southwest, which means that teams like Rambox aren't going to be in think Osaka might have something to play, but they're going to have to deal with Chris, which, I mean, let's be honest, no one wants to deal with Chris, even as a solo. And then this fight, the winner of this fight is going to have to find their way in as well.
Yeah. I mean, they're so far away from... as far away as you could possibly be at this point.
Yeah.
And the longer this fight goes on, the harder they're going to find it to join in the end game here. You've still got 8 teams in the game. Well, excuse me, 9 teams in the game.
Which is crazy for this size circle.
Yeah. So after this fight, you know, what, we've got 30 seconds left until this zone starts moving. If they don't get this done quickly, they're going to find it incredibly difficult to get into this next one. But Tail, he finds the first kill. Oh, more come out for Team 999. Getting involved late in the game after having to res their whole team, keep them alive. They need to start moving quickly, but that was a good fight from them.
And Tail is the reason that 999 find themselves even in this game at all. Remember, he was the solo member. He managed to sneak up on that north side of the res point, and they were able to fully recover. Again, I love this res system. It's so good. And the fact that 999 has 4 up, 4 kills, not necessarily the best circle position right now, but the fact that they even get a chance to fight as 4 and move in is wonderful. You love to see it.
Yeah. It is Osaka and Fuego that have what I would consider the 2 best positions here. Maybe ZRJ as well, actually. They do have some cover in the high ground. R15 rotating towards them, that might push them out of that one. Fuego, they're opting to sit on the only little bit of hard cover over towards the south. East of the zone, as we can see here. Osaka, they're over towards Marble Works, which is just about in zone here. This is really going to be where things start getting heated, because Team 999 moving in towards Osaka. USA Esports trying to vie for that location as well. Meanwhile, Fuego is firing down on top of R15 and ZRJ at the same time, who are both trying to take golf course now. So we've got, once again, 3 teams on either side of the map, just trying to find any piece of control in this late game.
And meanwhile, as you said, in the middle, Fuego is just chilling.
Yeah, I mean...
It is taking shots at teams on both sides, currently focused on the fight between ZRJ and R15. Which is not necessarily a fight, it's really more of a split between the 2 members remaining. And what a shift for Fuego. Are you kidding me?
That is perfectly placed for Fuego. I mean, they can edge camp this one at the bottom of golf course. They can make sure nobody rotates round to the right here. They can make sure nobody rotates round behind them. It's absolutely perfect for them. Now Osaka, who really wanted to keep a hold of Marble Works here. I actually remember them clutching a game in Marble Works as the last zone back in Season 1. They're not going to make it work this time because they do need to start moving south. Team USA hobbled down low. Oh, Mr. T is knocked already by Team USA.
Oh,
and Osaka also taking shots. This is the problem with these late rotations now, is that Osaka already have a nice position and Team USA can't go anywhere.
There's a member of TSA right on top of Fuego, though.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very curious what that player is doing, but R15 also making the move while this fight is happening. Osaka still desperately trying to get in. USA potentially gatekeeping them, but both teams are getting gatekept by Fuego in the end anyways.
Yeah, Fuego is so happy down there. Unless Mildew can do something really good in the backline of them, which is unlikely, being able to take down a whole team in just 1 second. Doba's taken down. Compares absolutely massive coming out here. Osaka are getting involved as well, all over the place. Having to walk down all the way south from Marble Works. They're doing so well to vie for position. ZRJ are taken out. Still 5 teams left in the fight here. USA, there it is. The flank from USA is cut out by Fuego, which gives Fuego once again a really advantageous position. Osaka still finding a lot of control over towards the north here. Now on 10 kills. Not quite as many as Fuego, but I mean, still well involved.
They're on track. Osaka has been fighting tooth and nail just to get in. They've been on the north edge this entire time, just cleaning it team after team. As you see, 10 kills, 5 of those. Just absolutely devastating.
Now the new kill leader picking up their 11th. And they have a nice position, although they do need to move because the next zone has landed on top of Fuego once again.
Shocking.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Who would have guessed? I mean, they do need to move, but they do have a nice position. They are alone here. I mean, keep in mind, you've got Tail, you've got Gariner, and you've got the last 2 USA members that are right on top of Fuego. So they have a lot to deal with, even though they do have the zone to themselves.
They can actually just use this fight right now to get up, and I think it's exactly what they're doing. This third party is taking so long, or this fight's taking so long. be able to come up in third party. And here comes Osaka.
My. Here it is. Oh no, Fuego are being able to hold it at bay for the first little part of the fight. They're actually doing so well to just split up and be able to do this. 2 knocks onto Fuego. Karma is going to come in and actually make it difficult for them, but somehow they're holding on to position. It's just Scott and Calvin left, but they hold down this little hut. Calvin is down. We'll be able to get rezzed eventually. Osaka can't move in quite yet. R15 official, now down. Only tail from Team 999. Osaka moves in. There we go. Calvin is down. It's 1 player left on the Fuego side. Still 3 up for Osaka, as they've now taken the best control of the map. Scott has to be pushed all the way out here. Tail, though, he gets involved. Takes Osaka down to 3 members.
The fact that Tail is still alive is just remarkable. Honestly, the amount of work that he has put in for his team is... I mean, I hope they appreciate him. The fact that he's still alive is remarkable. He's gonna find a knock. Are you kidding me?
That might put Scott in a good position to finish this one out. We'll see. Can he defend this last house? Very slowly. He'll find the first knock. He'll be able to get that down and then heal up. It's a 2v1 now.
He's in such a bad spot.
Yeah, this is difficult now. Nade goes in. He manages to evade that. God, he's got to stay so low. Heal coming out, but the nade is going to stop it. Brilliantly placed nade. Fuego down, and Osaka get well involved with their first booyah of the day. Brilliantly played.
That was probably one of the more impressive, I think, performances we've seen all day, just because of how much they had to fight tooth and nail just to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was absolutely just amazing the way... so many times the zone didn't favor them, and then their timing on that last fight was perfect. They got involved with Fuego right when Fuego... I mean, they had the zone to themselves every single time, but luckily for Osaka, every one of these crippled teams that were getting involved, they absolutely just ran in on Fuego at the same time, and then Osaka just went, hold on a second.
Yeah,
we just wait until these teams are down. We can just run in and take over the fight. And that's exactly what they did. Fuego were, low on health. They were fighting off from all angles. And Osaka just came in with their full squad and went, nah, this is our fight now. It's all good.
And that was actually what was most impressive, is not only was Osaka really impressive in the way that we're fighting tooth and nail just to get there, but Fuego, they took that position early, and they were able to defend from multiple teams. I think it was like 3 different teams that tried to take the position away from Fuego. And realistically, it came down to Osaka finally being able to take down the raid boss. But man, what a game.
Yeah, I mean, full credit to Fuego for being able to come second in that one. Their ability to cling on to that was unreal. Team 999 also, I do think, needs to be praised a little bit for this one, for the way they managed to stay alive until 3rd place there. Tail, although we can, talk about how questionable his positioning was in the first fight against Osaka, managed to bring it back. Rezzed his whole team, and actually got a bunch of kills for his team as well. So being able to stay on that long and get so much efficiency out of their positioning is definitely great for the team, and they needed that. They really did.
Tail was huge. He was absolutely instrumental in keeping 999 alive. And again, as you said, they were able to get a lot of kills, more placement off of this. I mean, it was really just, for me, it was all Tail. It was all Tail. And the shots, actually, that was gross. Some of the shots coming out of the Osaka members were just unfair.
Yeah. Well, you can see how many fights they got involved with and how they still managed to keep all members alive throughout this whole game. Keep in mind, right up until the end where one was knocked by Tail at the end. But, I mean, still getting involved with this one. Scott trying to hold on to this one, but you've got so many nades coming in. And there's no way, once you're that low, to hold on to that one. Osaka come away with 28 points, 16 kills in 1st place. Absolutely massive for them. Fuego, a good amount of points as well, 17, 8 kills. R15 official actually got well involved in that game with 18.
Yeah, R15, I mean, they're always involved when it comes to kills.
Yeah, well.
But again, the biggest takeaway for me for Fuego is that they had a really rough start. They were a team, again, we talked about quite a bit. The fact that they were able to bring it back, that shows me that mentally the team is just fine. They're really strong. Even if they have bad games, they're able to shake it off, come in, and still get a good amount of points, which is going to put them in a great spot. And Osaka as well. They were a team that didn't necessarily have the best start overall. They've been kind of getting by, scraping some points here or there, but to be able to finish strong, this is going to be a huge boon for them as well.
And we will see now as we look at the overall standings for today. Oh, the overall standings altogether. First, how that stacks up, because this is now Group C and Group A are both with their final standings for this next day, or until Saturday next week. This is what their scores are going to be at. And these are actually even scores now between A and C. This is actually their final standings for the first 2 days of their play. You can see Fuego not quite reaching the heights of Pizarro Esports after what could be called almost a disappointing start to the day. Almost a disappointing day overall for them, taking away one booyah, obviously, but I mean, still, it's not what we expect from them after getting 90 points on their first day. Only 78 this day, which, I mean, it's still a large amount.
Only.
Only 78, yeah. I mean, but for Fuego, that's almost disappointing in that sense.
True.
Obviously, they got a lot of kills in every game, so it didn't matter that much, but still, no team actually reached any kind of height near the 90 kind of threshold, even the 80. Nobody broke 80 today. C was very balanced out, and you can see that in the way they're taking over the top 9. Absolutely every team. It's 6 teams in the top 9 for C, 3 teams for A.
And only 1 team in the top 12 for D.
To be fair,
it's actually just Osaka.
Yeah, but this is their first day competing. Osaka have, in their first day, as well as Atomic, got into the top 12, which is a massive start for them. They're not going to be competing on Friday, but when they do on Saturday, that's going to be really where they can build off this one quite massively. Obviously, Osaka, they'll be competing on Friday against Group B, who are also going to be trying to, compound what they have in this one. Atomic are going to have to, or are going to be able to get quite high up in this one, but Osaka as well. But everybody needs to now just try and... This is where we start to try and just get away from that bottom 4, I feel like.
Yep. This is where the separation absolutely is going to happen. And I'm actually really pleased to see as well ZRJ finally getting, some of those mid-early rotation plays, as well as some of the traps they set to actually work. They had a pretty decent day overall, but looking at the average placement, I mean, Pizarro is still leading the pack with fourth, fourth board 75, Virus Gaming at 5, and then of course Atomic, Club 90 and Fuego rounding it out. 5.33 is not bad. I mean, 5th place average every game of 12 teams, especially with getting kills, it's still really, really solid.
Yeah, and I mean, incredibly impressive for both Fuego and Club 9D that they managed to get into the top 3 with 168 and 156 points in 2 days, with a almost 6th placement on average. That is a middle of the table in placements, and they're still top 3 with that many points is incredibly impressive in terms of kills. We can take a look at overall kills, and Adiel from Pizarro Esports right at the top of that with 33. That's a massive amount. But Fuego, they dominate the top 5, 29, 25, and 22.
And again, just the fact that even after a very poor start, today they were still able to find those kills and make the comeback, especially in that last game. Like, yes, sure, you could argue that they got quite a bit of circle love, but I mean, initially they didn't. They made those early rotations off the south bridge. We even called that they're probably going to want to go towards the other bridge just because it's such a high density area for teams coming in, and that's exactly what happened. And man, I mean, even fighting off, even though they didn't win that last game, even fighting off Osaka for as long as they did, where they really didn't have any business to, we thought they were going to get wiped way sooner, just shows you how resilient Fuego can be, even in some of their, I say a bad day, but I mean, they were still the closest one, as you said, 80 points at 78, when previously they had got 90 in the other day. So Fuego still looking quite strong, but the rest of Lobby C looking very strong as well.
Yeah, I mean, it really does reflect it. We do say it was somewhat disappointing, but that's when you set the bar so high, that is what happens. They are the points leaders for both days they participated in. We'll put it that way. They got 90 on the first day, which was 9 away from the closest, which was Club 90, and they got 78 today, which is 5 away from the closest, which was ZRJ, which is, I mean, still absolutely amazing. So being points leaders for 2 days in a row is absolutely brilliant from them. And, I mean, the score reflects it. It is Pizarro Esports who do stay at the top of the leaderboard so far, though. Anyway, that will be pretty much it from us. If you have any words to wrap this one up, Godspeed. But for me, that'll be it.
That was super exciting. I'm really glad to be back, casting Free Fire. I definitely do enjoy watching this game. I love how aggressive and how basically fast these games tend to go with smaller maps, 12 teams. And yeah, it's just a pleasure. I'm really looking forward to the next one.
All right, then. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. We will be back next weekend once again with some more Free Fire action, and we'll be able to see where all of our teams stack up after that one. But for now, good night, goodbye.